And we're live for Roundabout Cast 86.
Woo! Can I just say something real quick?
Please.
Yeah, this has been the worst Thursday ever.
Oh,
Damn.
no, let's go. Joe, give us your quickie starting with the worst Thursday ever.
I went through this whole day thinking that tomorrow was Friday, and then at one point I had to call somebody, and he was like, "I'll get it tomorrow on Thursday." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Today's Wednesday." I'm like, "Oh no!" I just
Oh,
had like this existential dread of I had one more day in the office I had to get through before I got to the weekend.
oof.
Uh, it
Wow.
just was like the worst feeling ever.
Can
But
we
yeah,
just talk about how we're stuck in this endless loop of just working until we die? Isn't that cool?
it's so good.
Yeah. And, like,
Yeah.
even if your job is fun and you love it, like, it's still a loop that you're stuck into.
You still have to wake up and go and be like like accountable for someone, or someone has to come in and like look at you funny and be like, "You
I
could
don't
have
like
done
that.
better." Yeah. But anyways, let's talk about fun things we did
Joe, tell
in
me
our
some
lives.
fun things that we did since last podcast.
So my brother works, and oh, actually, first off, while my parents aren't here, and hopefully by now no one from my family can hear this, my sister got married in the eyes of the Lord 2 days ago.
And this is
Or
a secret. This is a podcast secret.
well, it's like yes, we're like basically like so
Spicy.
it's like the Catholic wedding because we're Catholic, so it was done by like a Catholic priest and a deacon and everything, like all the religious stuff.
Huh.
Um, but
Wait.
they're keeping it on the down. Yeah.
Okay, go on. Yeah. Why is it on the down low?
It's because we're having a bigger party, and like we just want to. It's really we need to get like the rubber stamp portion of it out of the way,
Yeah.
and my sister wanted to be really like, well, let's just have our parents and our grandparents there, and they can enjoy it with us, and we just don't need to worry about it. We don't need to make a huge deal out of it. Because my father is a very big crier, and he needs to get that out of the way now than later.
That's funny. I wouldn't think that of him. That's great.
Um,
I will
but
tease him next time I see him.
we had a very nice dinner afterwards. Very happy for them. I just thought I'd share that with y'all.
Nice.
But we're
Nice
still
little
having the
secret reveal. This is Joe's secret stash.
yeah. If you're in my family, sorry, not sorry. Anyways,
There'll be a bigger. That seems popular these days. It seems like a
yeah,
lot of my mutuals are having like the get it
yeah,
done wedding party after. You know.
yeah. We're having a huge party in South Carolina later this year. It's just we kind of got like the whole religious side of it done. But anyways, my brother um has been really getting into golf, and the Texas Houston Open happened a few weeks ago, and he was saving up money to go to this event. And they're like really expensive tickets. They're like $200 each. You get to walk around and like watch everyone like play golf and everything. And he saved up money. He purchased tickets. He's like, ah, yes. And then his boss came around and went, "You fucking idiots! You work for the store that sponsors the tournament. I can just give you free tickets."
Well,
And
might
so
as
they got
well.
to, yeah, yeah. So they got to go for free, but me and my dad and my mother got to use his tickets, and we got to like go out there with him and kind of like walk around. It was a lot of fun. It's like the the most inverse of a sporting event ever because like it's super quiet. Like, can you imagine any sporting event you've ever gone to and not and think of it as being just like dead silent the entire time?
I,
Yes.
I'm, I imagine it's what it's like to go play like go to a chess tournament or curling. I don't think people cheer for curling. I don't know Olympic stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, it was just very it's kind of like it has like this weird like very quiet music festival feel because it's like there's a bunch of booths and like tents set up for like drinks and merchandise, but like everyone's like quiet the entire time. But it was very cool. We got to follow Sam Bennett, who is a Texas Aggie alumni. He participated in the Masters while he was in school as an amateur, um, which is like the big like kind of golf tournament essentially. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was just fun and neat to go out there and like like just see how the event was run and everything. Nothing spectacular. I just thought it was funny that my brother didn't realize he had free tickets and he spent this entire time and I ended up using them. Um, but
A
yeah,
pleasant surprise.
Yes. And then it just through the like weird, just kind of like feelings of life, I was just like, I'm gonna watch The Matrix, because I had not watched The Matrix since I was about 10 or 11 years old. A
Same.
long time.
I don't remember any.
And
How many of us have seen The Matrix? Period.
Me?
me,
I can't believe I've never fucking watched it
Wow.
you've
in my
never
whole
seen The
life.
Matrix, Bradley?
You are not woke.
It's such a Bradley movie too. I mean, I imagine it would be.
There's something really cool about The Matrix on DVD too. That is like the biggest movie that's ever put me to sleep in my life. But just the intro. If you make it out of the intro, you're good.
The intro's
But
not
it's
even
so-
particularly boring, right? Like it's.
No. I'm talking about the opening credits, Willow.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know why. That shit just hits. I'm like, out.
Certified
That's
like ADHD moment. I don't even know what that would be.
But like The Matrix is interesting because that's it's one of those. It's a cultural like movie, right? Like it's just a huge
Yeah.
milestone in like movies. Like
Touchstone.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to like imagine like movies without The Matrix have ever been made, right? To the point where like it gets heavily memed. So you're just kind of gets into this weird like, was The Matrix actually ever good? Was it ever like a good movie, or was it just so different and so cool at the time that like we just all kind of bought into the sauce, you know?
Yeah, like the Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm here to say that's not true. The first Matrix movie is still really good. It's like one of those movies that is like perfectly paced. The dialogue in it is crisp. It's like direct, but also providing like very philosophical like points at the same time. You understand what is happening, but you kind of get a bit of intrigue of like what does it mean for this and this and this. Like there's so much good world building, and like there's so much now as an adult that you realize that you just kind of don't like see before as a 10-year-old gooner. Where like when they're in the Matrix, they're in this city and it's big and it's wide and it's open and like you can see the sky and everything. But then when they're in the real world, they're stuck and confined on this like tight ship that's like very narrow and like very like claustrophobic. I just love that juxtaposition.
Those
As
real
well
world
as-
scenes are very uncomfortable feeling, as I recall. I rewatched this in college, and I remember having similar thoughts as you.
Yeah, and then also like they do this effect in the Matrix where they have this like green tint to it that like if you're not paying attention, it just kind of blends in with the background. But when you know it's there, you really know it's there. And I think that's just a really good like cinematography like trick or like just thing that they did. But the big standout to me was Hugo Weaving's Agent Smith.
Oh yeah, he's the best character.
Yeah, like I remember like I was watching the movie and I was just like, I remember really liking Agent Smith, but I don't remember why. And then he has this speech to Morpheus while Morpheus is getting like drugged
Bodied.
up, and he's talking about like he's like a programmer in the Matrix. And he's like, I fucking hate it here. I want to leave. Like, and he just goes off about like how much he just wishes he could be like Morpheus and leave the Matrix. And I
pretty
thought like,
good.
oh, that's such a fascinating character. It's very good. I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna watch Matrix Reloaded because maybe it's just misunderstood, and like I have a bigger brain now, and like I can understand what they're talking about. And I'm here to say that shit's still fucking dumb.
Oh no, I was hoping for the turnaround. I haven't rewatched 2 or 3 like ever.
It's so much gobbledygook and it just gets dry. It's like, oh, people really like this philosophy stuff. Let's like triple down on it, and it's way too much. Like, and there's too much faffing around. And the unfortunate thing is, like, the best fight scene in the movie is in the worst like expositional part of the movie where they're like talking to the French guy. I don't know if you remember him at all, Willer.
I do. He's like the outside guy. Is he the traitor?
No, he's
no.
like they talk about how there's like how programs will sometimes go rogue within the Matrix, and they either get deleted or they hide themselves within the Matrix as exiles, but they maintain their programming. And he's a rogue one from like way back when, and he makes like cake that makes women orgasm, and then he has sex with them.
I do not remember that shit.
It's so weird because it's like, why does this robot care about having sex with like human brains. It's very, very weird. Like, I don't understand like the point of it in the movie. So I will recommend The Matrix. I will not recommend Matrix Reloaded. I am going to watch the other two that came out just for curiosity's sake at this point.
I forgot there's a fourth, so yeah, curious to see.
And then I also tried playing Immortals with Avium. I was kind of interested in playing this because it was made by Ascendant Studios and it's their first game. And it kind of flopped because it got flopped because it was stuck in the sea of like 2023's excellent games, like between Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield and like Hi-Fi Rush, Resident Evil 4. Like, it just kind of didn't have a chance. And like, unfortunately, this game makes me fucking sick. Like, it makes me nauseated when I play it. And it's because like you can't turn the motion blur off in the game, and that really like fucks with me. And I wish I could play more because it's pretty solid, like gameplay wise.
What
like,
is this? I don't know what this is.
It's a first-person shooter, but it's like magic themed.
So
like,
I remember.
Okay, yeah. So you have this gauntlet, and like I didn't really unlock any more like that many magic spells before I had to like step away from it because it really was just like making me like sick. Like, if I could turn off the motion blur, I'd have so much better time, but I can't, unfortunately.
It's interesting. Motion blur is supposed to help alleviate.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like for me, like as soon as I see motion blur, I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I have to turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's every time. There was another game that like I was playing recently, and I had to like
Dragon's Dogma has some insane motion blur. Yeah,
I was playing Dragon's Dogma. And I was like, why am I feeling sick?
Hey,
I was like, oh, the motion blur's on.
Can we follow up on Dragon's Dogma in your quickie real quick?
Yeah, of course. I was wondering if we were ever going to talk about this again.
Cause we were like pretty optimistic about it when we talked about it. I don't know if it was last podcast or like last two.
It was last podcast.
And then like I played one more play session and then realized that I didn't really enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And then
what happened to me was that I finished those like selection of quests that you talk to the sheriff with, right? And then it's just like, all right, I'm going to complete this. I'm like, all right, we're going to have a big like centerpiece event. We're going to this castle. Shit's going down. I'm off. Let's do it. We walk up to the castle. They're like, oh no, my brain hurts. Let's leave. And then you leave. And I'm like, you give me this whole spiel about like you have to prepare for this event, and then we don't do anything. Like, what the fuck?
Is that still that first town where it's like the knife guy that you take like multiple quests from? Okay.
Yes.
I went a little bit further than that. Maybe I did less side content. I went to the next city, which was a whole trek, and then I did a little bit of stuff there, and that's where it fell off.
I like the combat in the game, but like every other system in that game just feels half-baked, and it kind of ruins the
combat's great. The combat's very fun, and like the classes are fun, but do you happen to know your playtime by any chance? Because I've since discovered a really funny thing about this game.
I have about 25 hours of playtime, I think.
Okay, you know what? It's that's pretty good. I read this thing where like it's very common for people to play the game and then quit at around the 17-hour mark. For some reason, I saw 15 to 17 hours, a very common quitting point.
Interesting.
And then I looked at my playtime, and it was 15.5. I was like, holy shit, what's going on? What do they put in this sauce that just spoils at roughly the exact same time for everyone?
I think you get through the magical portion of like, oh, big open world, really cool, you have to walk everywhere, but you're doing events. But you kind of realize that every time you walk from town, the missions are just poorly made because it's a lot of backtracking between like the same point over and over again.
They're not like the worst missions I've ever seen, but like going through them is a bit of a slog.
I think one of the other things that they do that I think was a hindrance on them is that they mention when you pick up a quest for the first time, it says like some quests have a time limit, so be careful to who you talk to and accept quests from. But when you pick up a quest, it doesn't necessarily tell you there's a time limit on it at the beginning. So like you kind of get paranoid if you should like accept the quest or not. So you have to like, at least for me, this was my thought process. So I'm like, I'll do this one quest, I'll go do it, and come back and do this next one, kind of a thing.
I didn't give a shit, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't think I ran into that issue. I might have with the quest with like the girl who was lost to the wolves, or whatever. Like, you know that girl, like some girl got lost in a cave, and I think that was a time one, but I got it. And like that was a neat quest and all. My thing is like the pawn system, loses its luster very quick once you've heard them say like the same conversation for the 5th time within 17 hours. And it's like the pawns are basically just like a collection of like, your pawn did these things so they can help me out in these ways. But the ways that they can help me out, it's a very cool system, but it's not like what people advertise it as, this like revolutionary like AI companion. Like, it's neat. It's good. It's neat. I made my Sakamoto very small. I made Sakamoto from Sakamoto Days, so he's a tiny, like, he's the minimal height because I couldn't like gauge it. And then like you have to do so much shit to change your character's appearances because my main character was also tiny as shit. So I had to like grind just to make them both this normal height, and I was like, okay, this is too much. What
I will say that in a patch they like significantly reduced the cost to change your appearance for stuff.
Nice. This seems like it'll be good. Like multiple patches in, just like the first one was.
Yeah.
My thing is when I read. Like, I was reading, like, people talk about enemies they fought, and I realized, oh my god, I have fought every enemy in the game.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've fought, like, 90% of the roster in that first section of the game, and you're just gonna fight variants the rest of the game. But, like, in an immersive combat like that, like, where, like, physics happen and dumb shit happens, you kind of want to see a lot of different move sets and types of enemies and stuff like that. Like a Monster Hunter, like if you release a Monster Hunter with 12 monsters, it's not going to work.
No.
It has to have like at least a decent starting roster, and it seems like they really didn't get there with this. So, anyways, Bradley, I retract my
recommendation.
My what's the word? Recommendation, yeah.
Damn.
Now, pick it up if you see it on sale, though, because I feel like you would still like it in like a Skyrim-y get lost in the game kind of way, because the combat's really fun. And maybe you'll get past it and you'll find like the joy that some of our other friends have found with the game, because like, as it is, it also just like there's so much better games out right now where it's like, this quickly fell through the cracks of like, the roster.
I don't know, compared to some of the other stuff coming out, like it's got to be like with all the good games coming out, it's got to be like a 10 out of 10 to make it to the front of the queue. You know what I mean?
Especially one where like every play session's like got to be kind of lengthy because like you're not getting anything done without putting some time into the game because it's designed that way.
Yeah, it's at least like 2 or 3 hours before you get anything done.
Yeah. And here's the thing: Dragon's Dogma 1 was on sale for Switch for like $4 the other day, but I was like, I wonder if it's good on Switch.
I also
have one more thing, and this is a huge spoiler for the game. So I don't know if you want me to actually say what this or not.
I don't mind.
Yeah, that's up to you, Bradley. If you care if I spoil it, it's okay. You are actually playing Dragon's Dogma 1 for the majority of the game.
That's very interesting.
They basically remade the entire game in the new engine, and then once you beat that game, you then get another title drop that is Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay, well that's peakish. That's a good spoiler. That gets me interested.
Yeah, because I remember when I boot up the game, it just says Dragon's Dogma. I was like, that's weird and interesting, but okay, maybe it's just like one of those like things like
it's a do-over kind of thing. Is how I saw it.
But there's like an in-game stuff that you have to go do and whatever. It's like, okay, that's really cool, but at the same time, like, if the path to get there is so tedious and boring, do I really care to get there? You know?
We'll see. We'll see if they ever get me back in with some updates.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's all my quickies.
Yep. I will move on to my batch so we can get another one out the way. Alright, so what have I been up to? I got like 2 updates on games, a TV show, and a real life activity. So we'll start with that. I went airsofting with some friends that had been wanting me to go for a while. They're very into airsofting, so they got like the cool guns and cool gear. I showed up in like a black shirt and sweatpants. But I got rental gear, and it was very fun, except all my rental gear did not work. Only for me. We went with multiple people that were also renting. Theirs was fine, but, you know, Willer Luck is Willer Luck, so sometimes I will just get shit
Will our
on.
karma strikes again.
I don't know what I did so wrong in my previous life, but it must have been bad. What was I doing circa 1940s, I wonder, back then? Because
Oh, makes you think.
You were helping Fidel Castro. Oh wait, that doesn't make any sense. Hold on.
that could work, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super fun. But it's like a very tiring activity, especially when you go like hard. Because I would just like sprint and duck and like dive. Because I like just jumping around and tossing myself around in like activities like that.
Well, they're like action games, so he will be an action game in real life.
Yeah, no, I did like Helldiver dives for funsies because it's fun. Like,
Yeah.
What else are you gonna get into their chance? I'm just glad like a branch didn't stab me through the gut when I did one, but it's all good. Yeah, it's outdoorsy and the weather was pretty good, but you did like even like good weather with all that equipment gets real sweaty. Speaking of sweaty, the main reason why like it wasn't super great is because the people that go to these things are kind of like really intense about it and they're really good and they also low-key hardcore cheated. It's like a group of people that go there every week and then a group that's like 8 of us, like 7 or 8 of us that came together, and then like a couple of people, like small groups that are there, but it's nothing compared to the other group. And like you're shooting the small children and they're just not getting out. Like, they just take the bullets and just run around like they're invincible. I'm like, you little motherfuckers, you cheaters.
That's when you like fucking hit them with the side of your gun.
I don't think they would appreciate that. And
yeah, well, they should cheat. That's my rule.
some of those guys definitely got guns in their trucks because the hobby would just breed some MAGA motherfuckers that will take things way too seriously. So that was one of the things. Very fun though. I was so sore, but I love getting sore like that. Like, because you have to squat so much, your legs are just dead after, but I love it. It felt great. And then I've been playing more Persona 3 Reload. Game's amazing as always. I'm taking this I'm like savoring every bite of this 100-hour buffet. It's been fantastic. I cannot like recommend this enough. Tyler, play this with me.
I own it.
You say you own. You do realize that you don't own it, right?
Yeah, I own it.
No, you have Game Pass.
You own Uno.
I own it as much as you do.
You don't own Uno. No, because Game Pass removes things from their service all the time. So, like, one day they're going to remove Persona 3, and you're going to be like, well, I'm not going to play it anymore because they removed it, because I know you're going to do that. And I just remember that I warned you. I bought it with money, so until World War III starts, which we'll talk about later in this podcast, I should be good with my purchase. So I'm just saying, play it now before it's too late, and then you have a conniption about it. It's really good. Joe, you should also play this.
Yeah.
It's such a bang for your buck. No, trust me. Like you would really like this one.
No, I know. It's just, life and time is the deal. I mean, I barely. Yeah. Anyways.
I mean, just chip away at it like me. I am in September in that game, which I am exactly 1 month away before like some of the craziest plot events happen in that game, and I'm picking up all the build up to it this playthrough around, and it's just like I am dreading it, and it's fantastic. It's like the good dread. It's like I can't wait to get my heart absolutely shattered, and from that point of the game, the story gets so good. So it's like I am just scratching it. They have also added so many cool gameplay things, stuff to go into in the future. But for the quickie, that's where I'm at now. Another game I've played is Pokerogue, which I also think Tyler and Bradley should check this one out. It is a Pokemon roguelike that's in the web browser, so it's got a very easy to enter like way to play. You don't have to download anything. You make an account, it saves your runs. You can have multiple runs going at the same time. You have a box of Pokemon you've caught throughout your runs, so you can use them as starters. There's a cool starter system where like you have 10 points to fill up with as many starter Pokemon as you want for each run. But the way that they balance it is like, say a Wurmple is a 1-point Pokemon, but a Mudkip is a 3. And I've unlocked some legendaries. I imagine they're going to be like 4s or 5s or more. So you have to like make a balance that way. But you also like, you get eggs from doing side objectives that you hatch throughout your runs, and those could be shinies, so you shiny hunt in it. just the systems built around the roguelike are really fun and addicting. And I've been noticing that like this game is blowing up hardcore on Twitch. So I guess that's how I caught wind of it. I just saw the name and I was like, okay, I love Emerald Rogue, which was a ROM hack, so I decided to check this out.
Ooh, my favorite things.
Yeah, it's right up my alley, and like, yeah, it's interesting. So you go in with your starter, and it's just like battle after battle after battle after battle. It doesn't like do the simulation routes that Emerald Rogue does, where like Emerald Rogue will take a Pokemon journey and condense it into like 2 or 3 hours for like a total run of saves, right? This is like just battle after battle, but you get like a choice of a relic basically to get after every battle, or like an equipable item, but your Pokemon can equip infinite items in this game, so you can have like one Pokemon that has 99 Lumberries if you just put all your berries into one Pokemon and stuff like that. But then it also has like, they said that it's designed like Risk of Rain, so it's got like other buffs you can get, like really fun stuff, and it's got some interesting modes. Notably, it's got like a daily challenge where it only goes 50 stages, so 50 battles. And everyone has the same seed and has the same starter, so it's like interesting because they can make a leaderboard based around that. It's like quick to do a daily run, so that's fun. Every 5 battles you usually fight your rival, because there's a rival in this game with like a storyline. And then every 10 you do a boss fight, which is either like a notable trainer like a gym leader or Elite Four member, or like a boss Pokemon. And in all these kinds of fights they will introduce like boss style Pokemons that have multiple health bars and mechanics each time the health bar depletes a certain amount. So they put in a lot of work into making this interesting and unique. And it's got strengths and weaknesses over Emerald Rogue, so I think there's valid reasons to play both. For example, like in this one, getting a Pokemon with a setup move is very vital because your setup moves carry between rounds if you're doing like a normal classic run. So a lot of the game becomes like a setup when you can, and then sweep as long as you can until you reach a trainer battle, which will like force you to reset your buffs, because like it makes you call your Pokemon back in. So that's interesting. But there's an endless mode apparently that I just unlocked because I just completed my first run that like does away with that, so that should be more interesting. It's also got like Poke Fusions, which everyone was like making like a little while ago, but those are like in the game with mechanics and stuff. I haven't really messed around with that too much, but yeah, anyways, it's cool to check out. I think you guys should check it out. Tyler was like, oh, the runs are too long. But let me remind you that one of our favorite games of 2019 is Returnal, a game with 8+ hour runs that you can't stop playing. Remember when we had to leave our PS5s on?
Returnal was an easy game, though.
This is not necessarily hard either, at least not a classic run. And you can stop and play whenever you want. It's a good thing to throw on during your lunch break and do like for 15 minutes. It's
oh
cool
man, to work from home.
Yeah, sorry, apologies. Okay, not lunch break. Then when you're waiting for a league match to load, or Age of Empires 4 thing to load.
Age of Wonders.
Age of Wonders, which I should throw in there because you've been playing that a lot. And then
I have been playing that a lot.
Lately, I watched The Circle Season 6. This is my resident trash show. Hashtag.
Yeah.
This is the best season. I'm like one episode away from finishing it. There's a gimmick early in the season where they let an AI play the game. So that was interesting. Like I imagine the way it works is they feed the AI prompt and then have like a voice modifier read it, and it's pretty funny. The twist is like the AI did really good, by the way. It's kind of scary. Like no one, because they even told the players at some point, it's like, hey, one of you is AI, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And then they try to like figure out who the AI is. They didn't even get close, but then they like the creators themselves removed the AI because I think they probably felt that like if it won the game or went too far, it'd be uninteresting. But it was like an interesting social experiment there for a little bit. That aside, it's got good drama this season. Like lots of actual strategic players, which some of the previous seasons are missing. And there's less players this time, so like less of a revolving door of like people just showing up and leaving. It's fun. One of the guys here is the most annoying motherfucker they've ever had, but I digress. Actually, one last thing that's been fun recently is rat beef. So let's veer off into like another lane.
What?
Rat beef. So let me catch y'all up on what's happening around the world.
I've heard like winds of this. I know what
So-
you're talking about.
The two biggest rappers on the planet right now are beefing, which this doesn't happen
Yes.
ever.
Rap beef.
Rat beef.
I thought you said rat beef,
I know,
like ratatouille beef.
Yeah, that we're also gonna talk about that because I've been to a burger place. No, yes, RAP beef, hip hop as they call it. So
Yeah, R&B.
beefs are kind of rare. And I'm not like the biggest rap fan, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. So I keep up, and like these are my two favorite artists in the genre fighting. So I'm eating good. The only downside is they will never work again. So I will never get like a feature with them again. But like it's bringing out great stuff from both.
This is almost as serious as when Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly were beefing.
This is relevant, Bradley, because
Okay.
that's actually the last big beef the hip hop community has had, and that was years ago.
Damn.
And I think the other one would be Drake and Pusha T, and this one is involving Drake and Kendrick Lamar. So you have the biggest rap artist versus the most respected rap artist, and they're going at it. So the way it's gone is like they've been like they worked together in the past. They have fought like slightly, like they've thrown subliminals at each other in their songs, yada yada. But then Kendrick like went aggressive against it. He did stuff. He said something to Drake and J. Cole because they did a song together. J. Cole was the other like among the big three, and then J. Cole bowed out, which he got clowned on. But things have gotten messy, so like I don't think it was a bad idea to bow out.
Rap war.
He likes the other two too much to be in the middle of this, and I think he saw that and he said, "All right, I'll just take the L."
That's a smart man.
It was a smart move.
Yeah.
So they did that, and then Drake finished the tour, and he came out with a song that's like really catchy. Like the first song was really good. Drake's song was really good, and he has this thing because he's done it in another beef where if you don't respond fast enough, he'll drop like a back-to-back track. And this one was spicy because he used an AI voice modulator, which is fucked up, to sing in the context of Tupac and Snoop Dogg, who are Kendrick Lamar's idols.
Yes, I remember this.
And this like stirred shit, and like it wasn't an officially released song, because I think like that would be pretty low. Like it wouldn't be a low blow for a rap beef, but it'd be a low blow artistically. But it was just like a light the fire under Kendrick's ass, and boy did it. Because just yesterday, and it took a while, Kendrick came out with like a really good reverse this. So that's where we're at. We're like each person has done two. I'm expecting like one from each corner at the very least, and we're just eating good. It's been fun.
Now, Willer, what is the likelihood that this is just a giant marketing ploy for their combined album that will have all of this in it?
That is always a like above 0% chance.
You never know what they're doing.
You never know what's happening behind the scenes.
To me, like I'm there's it's the meme of that guy like creeping around the corner with his hands it's like to me that's I see like every music producer's like yes.
Oh, I mean this is doing wonders for both of them because it's getting such good and like I could see it getting if they're actually mad at each other, I could see this getting messy one way or the other. And like
so question wise, is there any like specific reason as to why this all started, or was it just kind of like a like someone had a bad dinner one day and just got upset? Like
it's a competitive industry, and Drake is the top dog but cocky, and Kendrick is never been in a big beef, so that's like kind of the angle we're coming from. We're like Kendrick's really respected, but no one's like really gone at him. So he started it. He's like, "There's no big three. It's just me. I'm top one." Yada yada. Drake comes back with like "You're not as respectable as people think you are because like you work under Taylor Swift, like you move your album releases for her, you're actually like a puppet for her, yada yada." And then he comes back with "You're not black enough, you're not a good enough dad," which is like very scathing, but it's also treaded ground. So that was like but like the energy was really good. So like while it was treaded ground, it was really good. So that's where we're at.
okay.
And it's just like competitive, and they're kind of like two different sides of the top dog coin of like what you could consider the industry to be. So that's been pretty cool. Yeah, it's we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's all I got. How about you go next, Tyler? I'll toss it up to you.
Shit. All right, y'all. How's my gain? Am I gaining real good?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right. So I actually have more to talk about than I let on.
Ooh.
But first, I watched this movie randomly called Snack Shack. It just popped up on my pirate website, and I said, "Fuck it, I have nothing better to do." Snack Shack is a coming-of-age teenager movie about two kids who like to scam their town to make money, and it's 1992. I should preface with that.
Slippin' Jimmy 1 and 2.
I was just thinking Slippin' Jimmy.
But they're very like small. Maybe they're not pranks or scams. They're
grifts.
just hustling.
They're
hustling.
Hustles, yeah.
They're hustling.
Gas station Cheetos for 50 cents more.
One kid, they're both 14 or 15 in middle school, and they're like making beer in their house and selling it because one kid is a really savvy. He's got the Riz. One kid has the Riz, and the other kid is like an Eagle Scout. So you've got the business and the brains. And it's just they have a summer idea together where they're like, yo, let's get a snack shack at the pool and make mad fucking money. And that's what they do. And they have lots of setbacks, and they're constantly struggling to try and make their money back. There's a girl that moves in next door. She's like a military daughter. So like they move around a lot. So like there's a lot of interesting activities that happen over the summer. I would recommend it. I wouldn't say it was a bad time. It feels very short, and it seems kind of like a movie passing in the wind. You're not gonna remember it, but you're not gonna regret your time you spent watching it.
Lovely.
Okay.
Life is about the little detours, as they say.
Yeah. I've also been playing Age of Wonders 4. I think I put like 50 hours in like a week and a half.
It's been your main thing.
Let me check your Steam account here. Keep going.
Don't put my guy on blast live.
He already did, because I was venting to him, and I was like, because he's like, Tyler, I beat the game 3 times in like your single run, and I'm like, cool, Joe, I'm really bad at these. Even though 4X games are like some of my favorite games.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoy the role play aspect of it.
To be fair, Joe is like this is like one of your main genres. So.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is my side piece genre.
I have about 15 hours in the game. I've played 3 campaigns in it so far.
Jesus.
Did you complete all 3?
I did, yes.
Which is insane.
That's scary. That's scary.
Me go quick. Tyler has 45 hours in the game.
And you completed
I'm on my 6th or 7th campaign.
Okay.
I will say, I think, Tyler, I think there's also a difference in like the scale of games that you play. I don't know if you play like huge games or small games, but I tend to play more on the smaller side of games because there's like a campaign.
I play like 5 or 6 other players in the game.
I probably play around that much too, as well, or at least
He tried.
Yeah,
but I would play more of this game, but I don't have access to my like big computer right now, like regularly.
Also, Joe, did you auto combat every battle?
Not every battle.
Okay.
But just the ones I'm like, I'm gonna win this. Anything that like ended up like at the halfway mark, I'm like, I could probably do this better. And 95%.
You just auto combat everything until you're like, I need that unit, and then you go into combat.
That's how it rolls. That's how you do that.
Still, is that really gonna cut out 30 hours? Maybe.
Yeah. No, but I've been having a lot of fun. I don't remember everything Joe said about it because I tried to like block it out so I could have spoiler free.
Yeah, this came up in our Game of the Year last year.
Yeah.
I recommended it to Bradley and Tyler.
It is
by a day up, like on the spot when I was talking about it.
I really like making your own race and country and everything. I think the game is very limiting, actually, a little bit in what they allow you to create in terms of a nation. Like, if you deviate or try to make any type of hybrid country, the game really doesn't like that. It doesn't really balance itself to be like, oh, you're gonna be like an undead and chaos faction. So I think I kind of don't like that. Plus, you can only do like one major race transformation, and I'm like, dude, is anybody playing this game PvP? Like, why are you balancing this game?
No one's playing this PvP.
Exactly.
Let me tell you something about, like, we had like a very drunk discussion about this in our one Game of the Year podcast where I said something very, very mean about strategy game players. They're very anal retentive, and so if they think something is overpowered, even like a PvE sense, they're going to be very upset that they can abuse it. Like, it's very strange.
It's like they're people who like to min max, so like if they can maximize something, they're gonna do it, even though they're mad that they can, you know.
Yeah, it's like it's like kind of like they have the inverse of what I would say of like action and fighting game players have when it comes to like doing stuff. Where I feel like a lot of action like players really want to like just try everything, do what's cool and flashy, and kind of like try things out even if it's not the most efficient. Whereas strategy game players, a big appeal is like, how do I make this as efficient and effective as possible and like execute my strategy?
Joe, inside of you there are two wolves, and it's these two people.
I know.
They're both in you.
And so like it's I think that's just the dichotomy there. So I totally get what you mean. Like, I do wish sometimes like shit just went off the rails, but at the same time, the other flip of that coin is that like you then have to be like, okay, well, we let the player do this, but do we let the AI do this? If the AI gets to do it, is it really that fun for the player to then interact with that part of the game? And so you kind of have this weird like back and forth.
These are good questions.
I would love to see the AI make undead dragon moles like I did. Like, I do want to see that. Yes, I do, Joe.
Do you know what the main part of this game is?
No, like, apparently.
Everything you make goes into the AI pool.
Everything I'm.
Oh, I remember that. That's so sick.
Like, your races you make go into the AI's pool of selectable races.
That's one of the coolest things about this
so
game.
I made a bunch of goblins that essentially had touch of Midas. So anything they touched turned to gold. But whenever I could recruit my goblin hero, who was the leader, and I ascended them, they were no longer gold touched.
I mean, like the base race. I'm sorry.
Which, that's stupid as fuck. No, let me have this high as fuck ascended race. Like, let me have a checkbox that's like, have super OP ascended races.
That would be very fun.
Yes!
That might be coming later. Because this is a Paradox game, so they do a lot of updates to the game.
This game has only been out a year, and they're about to release their 4th expansion this month. Yeah. Which is really cool. They added they added a bunch of new races each time. One expansion added both dragons and lizard people, which I thought was cool. They added furries, and they've added bird furries.
Yeah. They also did like a kind of like colonial steampunk theme.
Yes. I bought all the expansions. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm upset I couldn't make my underground goat dwelling undead race. I transformed them into dragons first because their leader of the underground goat people is a necro dragon, and I made all my goat people dragon touched or like dragon rooted or whatever. Yeah, they're dragonborn. But then I tried to make them undead dragonborn as well, and they're like, no, you can't have that much fun.
I bet you could find a mod that'll let
I'm going to mod this game some more. I like to role play. I like things to become overpowered. I don't really like to challenge myself that much when it comes to these games because I am bad at them. I am really bad at them.
You'll get better.
I mean, it's just play them, and then you'll get to a point where like you realize how to do things. The other thing I wanted to say, Tyler, is that sometimes, like when it comes to strategy games, it's not necessarily like the combinations are bad. It's just the way your brain works can't like use that to like that combination to its advantage, or it's just a very awkward. Like think of it like chakra and Naruto. You know how they talk about different like chakra like types. Like because you're a wind type chakra, you might be very bad at the other type of chakra. It's kind of like that situation.
Oh, you really just said that. That's great.
It's been fun though, and it's like honestly. So I have been enjoying this so much that I made y'all know we have a friend who has a Steam big picture mode set up at his house on his like super 65-inch TV. So he doesn't have to be in his office all the time. I made that same setup because I have a laptop with a 3080 in it. And so I plugged it into my TV, got a wireless mouse and keyboard, and this past weekend I just sat on my fucking couch and got to play this on my big screen.
You've been needing that. You've been too busy. This is good.
Now Tyler, this probably won't change anything, but this game is available on the PlayStation.
I did look into that. Yes, okay. I hooked up. I tried it with controller first.
That's smart.
Because the game doesn't inherently have controller support because it goes through an external launcher.
Right. Okay.
But Steam bypasses that pretty well. Like kudos to Steam. I don't like controller support, and you can actually play the entire game without a keyboard. So I just have like 8 wireless mice. So I just had a wireless mouse on a book. Playing that like 90% of the time.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really am, because that's a game that got like last year. I bought. I was like, this is a really cool game. Shame there's fucking everything else that's happening right now in terms of my life and games itself.
I was telling Bradley about it too, and I am enjoying it, but I like everything until you have to win the game.
Yes, I think that's the weirdest part of the game.
Like, winning the game fucking sucks.
It does. It's like incredibly tedious.
I did the magic one as my first one, Joe.
Yeah, I did too.
And they're like, yo, this game is like, all right, you have to hold these 2 points that, first of all, you have to find on the map. They might be nowhere near your country. They might be deep in enemy territory by the time you actually do find them.
Go fuck yourself.
Because all the AI expand much faster than you do.
Yes.
And so by the time you find them, you have to fight wars over them. And then once you dominate them, which you can only do after like turn 30 because you have to have a strong army to do it, or just sacrifice an army to do it. Then you have to learn a magic that takes like 9 turns to learn, then cast that magic, which takes like another 6 turns to do. So you have to do that twice, which is like 12, 21 turns. And then they're like, okay, now you have to hold both of these until you can cast a 5th tier level magic, which takes another 20 turns to learn or figure out, and then casting it takes like 3 or 4, and then you have to hold it for 15 turns, and then once you have to hold that for 15 turns, the entire world is like, oh, you're gonna win? Here's 3 other countries declaring war on you.
And the thing is, like, that would be interesting if, like, at that point in the game, you are still, like, actively fighting and, like, you're on the same level as the AI. But at that point, you're generally well above what the AI is capable of doing. And it's, or, like, you're at the point where it's, like, this is going to be, like, rough, but I know I'm going to win. It's just, like, an attrition type thing. So it just becomes very much just, like, next turn. Let me just fight this one fight. Next turn. Like, it's just... And you don't move anything. You're just like running through the buttons.
Fun game. Would recommend if you like casual 4X games. I need to move on to my next topic.
Yeah.
Anime block.
Anime.
Spring anime has been pretty bumping. All right. Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, started its part 2 of season 2. This is the isekai where the main character gets erectile dysfunction, and is like fucked up in the head.
Okay.
I realize, Joe, I realize why I like this show and hate it and feel bad about it at the same time.
Oh, this is the one where
yes.
like the kids
yes.
not as
yes.
Okay.
Oh, y'all talked about this. It seems so trashy.
If this show is not an isekai,
okay,
I would absolutely love it because then you wouldn't have this inner monologue from a baby talking about his mom's boobs being so big.
That's what I told you when we talked about this last time.
You know what, Joe? In one ear and out the other sometimes.
I know. It's okay, bud. But I agree with you. There was some interesting stuff going on. It's just like I kind of hate that you have this internal monologue because they're doing some world building stuff. Like this is
the
kind of
world building's so cool.
Let's explore it some more. And then this guy's like, oh man,
did you get to the part where they teleport?
No, the part the last thing I remember was the guy was going off and his parents were separating because the dad knocked up the maid. And he sends a letter with him while he's leaving with like their barbarian friend, and the dad starts talking about how he wanted to bang or did bang the barbarian friend, and she's just like, I'm like, okay, let's take a break from this.
If you get to the part with the teleport, I think that's where it spikes up a little bit. But anyway, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Season 3, part 2 has started.
Now this one's popular, right? This one is.
This has 52 episodes in it. It's been going on for a few years now. This is a very casual isekai. I really liked the progression scaling in it. This is like an alternative to Log Horizon. This is a very contemporary Log Horizon where it's focused around like the tropes of like a super overpowered character. With light government work details, which is like kind of what I find fascinating about it. It's like the main character gets teleported to another world, becomes a slime, super strong, and then he turns into a city builder of a colony of monsters in a world where everybody wants to kill monsters. I enjoy it. This has the Ryan stamp of approval on it. Ryan's a fan, so I think it's up there on the tier list. Solo Leveling came and went as fast as it started.
This is one of the dude. I've heard of this for years. Is this any good? Well, you read the books
everywhere.
Yeah.
This only was airing for 2 months. It had 12 episodes in the first season. It got to what I would call is the beginning of the story. In those 12 episodes?
I mean, it's a Korean manhwa, right? So it's like, I don't know if there was good editing there to start.
If they go at this pace, it's going to be longer than Attack on Titan. And not as good.
And you hate that shit. That shit eats you up alive to this day.
It does. I'm glad I read this. I read this entire light novel series. Yeah. I would not recommend watching the anime at this time. No. I did not tell anybody to watch it. It's well animated, sure, but no, there's not enough fucking content in there. Oh, also in those 12 episodes, they had a recap episode, so it's not. It's pretty poorly paced. IMO. I lost my screen for a second, but Kelly started watching Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yo,
we made it through all of season 1, which she doesn't know that she's already seen because we watched it with her at Disney World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh shit. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't know that she had already seen season 1, but she started it on her own, even though she had already watched it with us. It's fine.
That's so funny.
She is on season 2.
I still need to watch season 2, man. Oh yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna talk about some spoilers if y'all haven't seen it.
Joe, have you? You haven't yet?
Not, no, but don't worry.
I'll stay quiet then.
You should step away or mute yourself.
No. I'll be.
Is this one that people read or one that people watch?
Watch one time.
Really?
Watch.
I read it's a good manga, but the anime is stellar.
Yeah.
Okay. I tried reading the manga, and my brain hurts reading the manga.
I would not recommend anybody. Even Keith is like, I'm not gonna read the manga anymore after watching season 2.
It's weird. The manga has some weird pacing things. It just chapters just end in the most awkward spots. It's really weird.
Anyway,
also, from what I know about the fights, I feel like they might be easier to follow in a animated medium.
They have. It's not there yet. Tyler knows because he got that far. They have some Hunter x Hunter-esque insanity abilities, You better know about constellations, my boy. You gotta be prepared for some of these fights. But yeah,
yeah, and you better know about positive reverse cursed energy, which cursed energy is a negative, but if you make it positive, then it's like the anti cursed energy. But then if you use reversed cursed positive energy, that's how you do healing magic.
Yeah.
So look, you better know feng shui.
No, yeah, it's Dragon's Dream sometimes, you know. But Bradley, you should watch this. It's got a genuinely really interesting story and like message and like just amazing fights and heartbreaking character moments. So it's very good
setup too.
I've heard people love the characters, but also the fights are supposed to just be like top notch.
Everyone loves the characters except the writer, and that's all you need to know.
Well, there you
go. Kelly and I have gotten to the point in Shibuya Willer where Itadori has begun fighting his rival, which means a series of events that have happened that put Kelly in disbelief.
That was the hardest page turn. I don't think anything in manga has hit me quite as, like, it's up there as one of the hardest hitting page turns in any manga for me. I was devastated. Yeah. Shit's good.
So there's that. We've been doing that. I've been watching Yawamushi Pedal, which I'm on episode 20-something? Am I on? I'm on season 2, which I've made it through all of season 1, which is 39 episodes.
Yeah. You talked about this last time.
I don't know how this show works in the anime.
You tell me.
Because I thought it was like 4 seasons long.
I don't know if it's like okay.
But like, how are they set up? There's like, they might not all just be on Crunchyroll. That might be the thing.
Is this called Yushimua Pedal? What was Yoshimitsu?
Yawamushi Pedal.
Yawamushi. Okay, because I need to write this down.
Yeah, they just might not all be on Crunchyroll, which is the thing. So, almost through season 2, which like
there are 5.
I didn't. They start this race called the like Inter High, and I think that is like half of season 1 and like all of season 2. Which is crazy. I was like, whoa, I'm not used to a sports anime where this one event is like the entire show so far. So it's been good. I've been enjoying it. Very on and off. And then Konosuba season 3 has been going on.
Season 3?
I'm so glad to be back in season 3.
We're so back.
Kazuma has PTSD from getting Chimera dick up his ass. And it's been great so far.
Of course he does. Of course he did. Why not?
I've also been reading a new manga that Joe and Willer do not know about. Called Green Greens.
I have seen this. Is this golf?
This is golf. This is a golf manga.
It's also a Kirby stage or song.
I think that's the name of it. I don't remember exactly if that's it. But anyway, I've been reading that weekly. I enjoy it. It's it's no big engagement. It's just something I have to read before I read One Piece.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I started like Akane Banashi or like Undead Unluck. Or no, Undead Unluck, like Willer recommended. But yeah, like you just like find an additional thing to read and you just start reading it.
And then you got your Monday Dan to Dan and your Tuesday Chainsaw Man, which I'm very bad at keeping up.
Same. I don't know what the fuck is actually going on in Chainsaw Man right now.
That sounds exciting.
Black Clover released 2 new chapters for the first time in 3 months.
That's crazy. Like, what happened? Is it health issues?
It has to be that, or they just don't care anymore.
They care. It's still like it's popular enough.
I don't know.
It's also coming to an end, right? So I wonder if it is just like the author.
We're in the Great Wizard War, aka the Great Ninja War. And we're at the end part of it where Naruto gives his powers to all the other ninja. I mean, Asta gives his power to all the other wizards.
That didn't happen in the Great Ninja, did it?
Yeah.
Okay, he healed everyone, right?
Are they all wearing the standard ninja battle equipment? I mean, the standard wizard battle equipment?
One of the characters is naked. Like, I don't know what
Okay,
to tell
Tensei
you.
makes it a little
And
bit
I'm
different.
sure it's the 12-year-old because
No, it's the lightning boy.
Okay, that's good.
he-
That's a good one.
Oh no, wait. There's 2 naked characters.
Let's go.
Yeah, but
Man.
it's been good. That's it for me.
Okay. Well, I remembered that I have something to add to quick manga talk. I have caught up to My Hero. I was like 10 chapter, and this is your couple monthly. I make your My Hero opinions for you because.
Of course, I am here.
Yes. Just like All Might, you are here. Yeah, like the war's still going. You know, anime war arcs do belong.
The Great Ninja War. I mean, the Great Hero Villain War.
I mean, the 1,000-Year Blood War. I mean, One Piece War that we're gonna be in for 5 years soon.
Yeah.
One of the main antagonists got a lot of good new content, and one of the major fights we've been waiting to fight has ended, and it was quite good. Bakugo got to do some really cool things.
I've been hearing Bakugo.
Bakugo has been very good lately. And as you will recall from multiple talks ago, there was some nonsense with Bakugo not too long ago. And that was really fun. And now we're kind of up to the final fight. Like, final. There's nowhere else to go. There's, like, the final boss left. And Midoriya did some cool things in this fight. There was a nice, like, inner mind segment where you learn more about the antagonist and, like, his current mind state, and that was good.
Cool.
I don't know. Tyler, do you remember how far you got in My Hero? Or if you dropped
Stepped away for a second.
He might be
Kinda
in
stepped away.
Sandwich Land.
Yes, he is in Sandwich Land, which is fine. Anyways, yeah, it's good. You ever see a story that, like, is sticking to its themes, and it's doing it well, but you don't agree with the message, but, like, you have to respect it, but you don't agree with the moral of the story?
I feel you.
My Hero has kind of become that story where, like...
Interesting.
Like, as like, not as specific as possible, Deku wants to save the main antagonist in some way. He wants to, like... He saw a sad little boy inside those memories, and he's going to save that sad little boy.
And then Garnet says, we're going to have to kill this guy.
I'm sorry, Steven. We're going to have to kill this guy. Damn. But yeah, like, while that's happening, the main antagonist is like, all right, if I take 3 steps forward, I'm going to kill your parents and everyone in the town. And Deku's like, but I can't kill him. I have to save him. And it's like, I get it. It's consistent to the character, but... The stakes are too high for that message to land right now. And it's an issue I've had in another big fight in the war. So that's, like, the main thing. There's also, like, they did an interesting thing. Like, Midoriya, some time ago, which I was going to ask Tyler about, like, one of the most controversial things in the story happens where Midoriya basically gets a bunch of quirks. He starts off quirkless, and then he's got, like, super strength, and then he just has, like, 9 quirks at a certain point of the story due to plot reasons. That has been fleshed out since, but it was, like, very jarring. Some cool stuff was done with that recently, and I liked where the last chapter ended off. It is, like, everyone shows up, everyone's, like, half dead. Deku is, like, hanging on by a thread, and they're just gonna throw their bodies at the final antagonist and, like, try to end it with, like, the remainder of the forces. Classic everybody's here scenario. Finally, everyone was working together, etc., etc. Yeah, that's my Hero catch-up. I've also read some more Undead Unluck, but very little. Right now, Joe, they're fighting Seal. Do you remember, like, the Uma Seal has shown up?
Yeah.
With the character Lucy that just showed up out of nowhere. Like, very jarring introduction to that character.
Yes.
It's the least I have enjoyed the story probably ever. Like, I don't know what it is, but, like, that fight just isn't capturing me right now.
I will say that I was at the same point there as well.
Cool. I was just double checking and vibe checking the room.
Yeah. I think once you get past that, you kind of you go back up to, I think, about to your average enjoyment of, like, what the of what the story is. I think also, like, once you complete that arc, you're at kind of, like, the execution of the main thesis of the story,
Sick.
if that makes
I'm
sense.
looking for. I will say the last page I read was like the ghost showing up and visiting Nico, where I'm like, this is the character I've been most interested in since the start among the Order. So I am excited to get more Nico content.
Nico again.
He's the he's like the scientist of the group.
I love that character.
Okay.
Actually, you're about to get into like one of my favorite parts.
Okay,
actually.
That's really motivating. There's also the human who's working for God. His introduction was wild, but I mean, I don't really know where that's going so far, so I'm like mixed on that. But
the stuff with Nico, I really liked.
Sweet.
And it I don't want to spoil what the next half of this series is,
you
but
will
like,
not.
but it really sets up like going forward what we're going to try to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm really interested in Nico and the little puppet boy who like is never on screen. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember his name.
I don't know who you're talking about. I cannot remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck. This series is so weird. They're just like, this character's been here all along, and it's just randomly we're gonna get their backstory while you're playing Beyblade, and I'm like, what?
So like, I'm gonna unlock them in a weird spot where like I can't read it weekly because I will literally forget things that happen between chapters.
It's so chaotic.
Because it's so wild. So it's better for me to just stock up like 5 or 6 chapters and then read them just so I can keep some coherency in my mind. The second half of this like story I've really been enjoying. It's very crazy like what the concept of what they're doing is, I think, for like this story. God. And like
I don't know how this can get crazier. This story is batshit insane.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but
No,
I think you will either be really intrigued by it or you might be a little annoyed by it. But I got really intrigued. I've really liked what the
you're more annoyed at things than I am, so I think I should be fine.
I am. Yeah. But when I read it, I have a lot of fun. It's Undead Unluck's a good time. I think.
If Tyler's back, I was curious if he's watched Undead Unluck.
No, he's still in Sandwich Land.
Okay, cool. We're gonna toss it over to Bradley, who has a pretty low key schedule. What have you been up to, man?
Yeah, but you know what? I just realized you gave your My Hero catch up. I gotta give mine because we just started watching My Hero. I just started watching.
Emily's a fan, right? Okay, I have to actually be careful about my spoilers now. Okay.
It is her favorite anime of all time, and we've been listening to the Worm audiobook together, and we took a bit of a break after Leviathan stuff, but we want to get back on our superhero shit. And she's like, "Look, we're watching My Hero. I'm not that far into it. Like, I'm only on like episode 5 or 6, so like he just got to the school, but pretty good so far. We're doing the sub because people clown on the English dub for the show all the time.
It seems like Funimation dubs are not that hot, and I believe it's a Funimation dub, so that is the bummer.
Oh my god. Sorry, keep going. I looked up that character you were talking about, Willard, the puppet boy.
Yeah.
And I just looked up his arc that he's the main thing in, and I just remembered how crazy that arc is.
Can't wait. Anyways, I'm so curious to, like, if you keep watching it, I just want occasional takes, because My Hero has an interesting thing, Bradley, where, like, people were super into it for, like, the first 3 seasons worth. And I will say the anime is a huge downstep from the manga, unfortunately. The tone is just not there. Like, there's a cool, gritty, edgy tone to the art of My Hero. The art is very good, and I'll share some panels with you at another date. But, like, the anime is, like, very clean looking.
Yeah, it can totally change the vibe of, scenes or characters or dialogue.
But yeah, I'm curious what you think.
That's how I feel about Vinland Saga, Willard.
The anime's too cute.
The anime's a bit too bright for me for Vinland Saga.
I see.
The manga makes it a lot more. There's a panel in particular. There's a scene where like Thorkel has like his 2 axes out, and he's like mean mugging down a dude, and you see this like weird spirit behind him. Do you remember that scene in season 1?
I do.
In the manga, it's way more terrifying looking. In the manga, it's way more scary looking.
Man, we'll get to that later. Bradley, do you have a favorite character so far? I mean, it's gonna be All Might, right?
I forget his name. He's like the really fast dude who has like vents on his legs.
Ida.
I don't know anything of his personality necessarily. I just think he looks badass.
Good old Ida.
Yeah.
If I speak, I will not speak, so we will not speak.
But I do really like Deku for the reason that, like, I feel like a lot of series where the main character has like, you know, some super OP power or ability or heirloom or something, I think a lot of those stories are open to people criticizing it for, oh, the main character is only where they are because they got gifted this thing. But I think the story really goes out of its way to like, Deku had to earn this ability. Like, he wouldn't have it if he didn't have these heroic qualities that no one else in these situations had.
Yeah.
Putting himself in the line of fire. And also, even after that, he still had to bust his ass and get swole.
Like, and he is a swole little guy.
I was about to say, like, before he ever got the ability, like, he got biceps, he got some abs. I was like, all right. So, I don't know. I like that he has to, like, earn it. And, you know.
All I put him through 2 days during the summer before school.
Yeah. Jump was kind of on a kick of swole like teenagers because I know Masho came out that time and Ass Stuff from Black Clover is like fucking ripped.
Yeah, dude.
Anyways, that's cool. Yeah, Deku is pretty solid. He's not my favorite by any means, but I think he's good for what the series needs. And that is like definitely proving that like his spirit is what matters. Like he's got the right mindset to be the person he needs to be in this story. It's cool. And what else have you been up to?
And then that's the thing. I don't have a bunch of new stuff because I've been doing stuff that like I've been doing. Like been going hard on those Kingdom Heart KH3 DLC limit cut fights because holy shit, they're so hard. I've been rationing them out because any day now they're gonna show off more Kingdom Hearts 4, but I gotta keep stretching out my content until then. Which reminds me,
we keep coping.
I have a newly completed fight I need to send Willer. And I finished that one off stylishly.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, nice. Bradley sends me his fights so I can gush at his gameplay. It is cute. It's great.
Send it in for review.
Yeah. and then we watch together, like, there's a dude who makes the fights look so stylish. He's very talented at playing the game, and we're just like, oh my god, this combat is deeper than anyone realizes. But
oh dude, some of the combos he does, it's not even a matter of pulling it off. I wouldn't be able to come up with the combos.
Yeah,
like holy shit,
so creative.
So that's cool. But what we've been going ham on is fucking Spelunky 2, and this game, it's the secrets in this game are ridiculous.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god! Anytime we discover one of these niche secrets, we lose our shit. But one of them, and this is like really early game spoilers, like World 1 and 2. But oh my, like apparently there's a quest line because there's multiple quest lines that go throughout Worlds and Spelunky 2. But one of them is in World 1, you have to steal from a shop, but you can't hurt or kill the shopkeeper. If you do, like you're fucked. You have to steal by just, I guess, running out of the shop with whatever you want to steal, which is hard to do because they'll shoot you.
You can't even jump on them? Huh.
Yeah, no, you have to steal without hurting them. And you'll know if you did it right because instead of saying like stop vandal or stop terrorist, they'll specifically say the word thief. So if you see that, you did it right. And then when it comes to time to choose your World 2, you specifically have to go to the one that's like the mines instead of the jungle. Mm-hmm. And then there's a thief girl there who will give you a quest to steal something in a later world. So like, so I don't know. These quest lines are fucking crazy.
That seems like a simple like thing, but in a game like Spelunky, that is like quite the ask.
That seems like too much work to me.
No, it's great.
But oh my god, we've also been clipping all of our like really embarrassing deaths, and I want to make like a super cut at some point whenever we eventually beat the game. Because
that sounds great.
Oh my, there was one like it was so embarrassing. We were on like 5-1, and
which one is that? The pyramid? No, which one's 5-1 in this?
So in this game, 5-1 is the ice caves, which I think was 3 in Spelunky 1. But oh my, like we were there, dude. Like we were at the bottom of the level, basically at the exit. We could have been in, and like we both just died for the dumbest reasons. Like I think I was like standing next to the door and I like panicked or something, and I started running all over the place, and I kept overcorrecting and almost falling off ledges, which made me panic more, and I just ended up falling into the abyss. And then I think Emmy saw some gold, and she's like, I'm just gonna go grab the gold. And then I think like like tiniest enemy in the entire level that you can't even see. It's like one of the tiny little green alien dudes bumps into her, so she died, and we were just like, fuck, that was the run. But the one that killed us is, oh my god, we had a run where we were doing fucking everything, like every quest line we were getting, every important item we were getting and taking with us. We got the eye, cleared out the vampire castle, got the vampire wings and the crown. Like, we're doing everything, and then got a fucking plasma cannon, which you only see once out of like every 100 runs. Yeah. Got super, super far, and then I ended up dying because we call them chungos. I don't know what they're actually called. Oh my god, it's thundering hard out here.
Whoa, that is intense.
Holy shit.
But I don't know if they're called hired hands or slaves or whatever. We call them chungos.
Oh, chungo, yeah.
And we had freed like 3 or 4 of them from the vampire castle because there's a shitload of them in there.
Yeah.
And I was having fun with the plasma cannon, and I ended up shooting it, and one of them had stepped in front of me, blew it up, we lost everything, and I was like, we're never going to have a run that good again.
Dude, chungos are a gamble. If you get a weapon that could be dangerous, that's when you kill chungos.
But also, I didn't realize that the online multiplayer in this game, I think, is crossplay.
Oh.
So, like, if you have PlayStation and Switch, which I have both versions, you can play with each other, which is cool.
That's cool.
So, like, it's fun to do the online multiplayer because everyone gets their own screen, but it also sucks because I don't think you can, like, unlock characters or anything.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like, it's really rare to unlock characters anyway, so you might as well.
But yeah, we have been loving fucking Spelunky in this household.
Makes me want to come back. Spelunky 2 is incredible. Like, I think that game went under the radar for how good it is. What path do you usually take? Because I know it's like jungle mines, and then there's another split.
Yeah, you can do... I think you can choose to either go to Waterworld or a world that's kind of like the temple from Spelunky 1. But also not. Like, we only went there, we've only gotten to the temple once, and there was a bunch of shit from Spelunky 1, but also a bunch of new shit, like these women who have, like, demonic circles and summon enemies to fight you, and I was like, holy shit.
Dude, I don't think I've ever even, like, soft beat the game, because I always, like, try to go for, like, the big ending, and I never get, like, I don't remember what the normal ending would be in that game, because you beat Olmec, but there's a lot more after.
That's the thing, I don't even know what the normal ending would be, because one time we got to World 6-1, and I wasn't even sure if that was, like, a secret place we were supposed to be, or if we were supposed to be there, but...
Have you ever gone to 7?
No.
As I recall, the path to 7 is the most insane, obscure bullshit that, like, have you ever ridden a really rare mount in that game? Like a mount that made you go, what the fuck is this? By any chance?
I've had some rare, nothing to that degree. I think the rarest... Okay. The rarest amount I've had is like the Oxalotl in the Waterworld.
Okay, you have a ways to go. Yeah, okay, all right.
But like, oh man, there's just the secrets in this game. I thought the eggplant shit in Spelunky 1 was obscure, but I think there's multiple stuff that's on par with that in this game.
Man, I'm booting this shit back up.
I was about to say, like, if you want to do online multiplayer with us, that'd be fucking fun.
Hell yeah, I can't wait for all of us to kill each other in horrible ways. All right, is that all your
yeah, that's about it.
All right, big long quickie block, like Joe said.
I know,
it's on podcast.
I don't think people realize that the quickie block is just us getting to actually unload our diaries to each other.
It's the stuff that it's like not really a discussion. It's just like it's diary time.
This is a long distance. This is our group meetup where we meet at the same diner every Sunday. Instead of doing that, it's this.
Yeah.
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, that was like kind of the whole point. Is that
indeed
we're always separated.
That is the thesis. Brad or Joe, you said Conan O'Brien must go. So
must go.
And why
O'Brien gotta go. Okay, so if do y'all remember a few podcasts ago? I think in like January, I talked about how I was like listening to some new podcasts just to find something that like to interject and like listen to.
More or
One of
less.
them being Conan O'Brien's Conan Needs a Friend, where he would bring on a celebrity and just talk to them and interview them, very much like a talk show, but like more off the cuff and unfiltered, essentially. I just listened to his Harrison Ford one and it was fucking hilarious. However, that's only half of his podcast. The other half of his podcast is Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan, where he talks to his fans and he kind of gets to know them, what they do, and like they just kind of shoot the shit. It's like an opportunity to just like meet a celebrity that you like. And a lot of times Conan O'Brien goes like, "Oh man, what do you do?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh man, that sounds really interesting. One day if I'm in your city, we should hang out and let's go do that." Conan O'Brien Must Go is Conan following up on those promises.
Oh, cool.
Where he like marks down some of the fans that he thought would be really fun to hang out with, or like are really interesting places, and he flies around the world to go visit them and see what they do.
He surprises them too, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like he doesn't tell them any bit unless it's like something huge he needs to like set up first. He doesn't give them any like knowledge of that he's going there. Like the first, so like Conan O'Brien Must Go is 4 episodes long. He goes to Norway, Argentina, Thailand, and Ireland. Ireland is especially special for him because he's Irish and he's very proud of his heritage. But yeah, he goes about like the first episode. He goes to there's this guy that he talked to. He says, "Oh, I'm in like a small time pop group. We play like clubs and bars and stuff, and we're like, we're really trying to take off." And Conan goes like, "You know what? Next time in Norway, I'll come to your studio and we'll make a single together." And you know what he fucking does? He goes to Norway and he makes a new fucking single for him with him in Norway, and it's so fucking funny.
This seems weird for a podcast format, or is this a show?
This is
a
TV show.
Okay, yes.
It's a TV show
on
HBO Max. Sorry, I should have led with that. But yeah, this is a show where like it's him documenting him going around and like meeting these people. He at one point like one of his fans is like a fisherman, so he goes out to the boat and he dresses up like the guy on the side of like the Morton Salt, like with the yellow raincoat and shit. It starts like just is a complete clown on the fishing boat while they're doing their job. Very funny stuff. At one point, he makes a cutaway gag about him being a Viking in the past at this old Viking village, and then they filmed the cutaway gag there, which is really fun. But it's just a really, really fun show, and it's just him like exploring these different environments, and like more and more I realize like, man, this Conan O'Brien is just really funny, and like is just a comedian that really knows what it means to like make comedy. Like you could see him like in the show like think of a joke and know exactly what that joke is going to look like when he comes back to edit it later in this when he comes back home. Like he knows the setup and punchline of what it's going to be. I really recommend it if you have HBO Max or anything. It's just very fun. They're very light. There's only 4 episodes or an hour long. But yeah, there's nothing really to really go into deep with that just like really
just
think
like
be. Yeah, I just like it a lot, and it's just kind of one of those comfort things that you like can put on and watch. Like sometimes you just need like a show that's not too deep; it's just there for laughs and just have a good time. But I like the concept of him going and doing this stuff with his fans. That he said, "I will do this with you whenever I'm in your neighborhood."
Very wholesome. It seems like a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And next, I will transition to video games. Joe and I have been playing a little bit of Stellar Blade, the new PS5 game that came out recently.
Yes.
I've been very excited about this game since the first trailer. I could just tell it had the sauce. And I've played a lot less than Joe. And what did you mean by that? I don't trust you. But Joe,
nothing. I was just going.
My first impressions. It's only a couple hours in because of another game that we've been playing that it's probably taken up most of the game time. Pleasantly surprised even beyond of what I was expecting because like the gameplay is really fun and I feel like no one was talking about that because as I mentioned last podcast, every discussion about this game is just Gooner chat. Like, it's all about sex. No one gives a shit about the game. So that's been interesting. And there's been follow-up, too, where, like, they toned down some of the outfits in this game, and people were losing their fucking minds. And the toned-down outfit is, like, a little bit of extra cloth here and there. It's still a fat-ass bitch in a, like, bikini. So it's like, you guys have issues.
What the thing is, Willer, is that people were complaining about it, and then someone's like, guys, you're fucking idiots. It's a completely different costume that's in the game. The other one's still in there for some of those.
Wait, what? Oh, no.
Some of the costumes are people they thought they nerfed, quote unquote.
Nerfed.
Those costumes are still in the game unchanged. It's just there's another
Multiple.
costume that's in a similar style.
Because there's a ton of costumes. That makes sense. They have I have seen like one screenshot of them toning down the gore. And I imagine it's like one of those scenarios where it's like we see the reception our game is getting, where like the conversation has been pretty bad, so they like censor themselves a little bit for that. So it's like, yeah, fair enough, I guess. I do like some of the gore would be cool, but it's still like pretty gory at times. So I don't think it's been heavily reduced or anything like that. So
I kind of this was not on my radar, and I picked it up because Willer was excited for it, but then like a lot of reviews came out. They're like, yeah, the game is actually good. I was like, cool. I want an action game to play. That's a little bit newer. And I told Willer this, but like big like Jedi Survivor vibes in the way the game is structured.
To me, and then I said to me, it's more of like a Nier meets Sekiro. And Nier is like they've gone to say like, yeah, we want to make a game like Nier.
Well,
so
there was even an article where God, what's his name? Yoshitaru? Is that the Nier guy?
Yeah, where he's like, y'all play this game. It's good.
Yeah, they played together, and Yoshitaru like really was like, I think Stellar Blaze was a phenomenal game and just actually better gameplay wise than Nier.
Coincidentally, Yoshitaru put me on to 13 Sentinels as well, so that's two good recs from Yoshitaru. Even though I am a slightly Nier slanderer, it's kind of an unpopular position to have on the internet. But let's not get into that. I don't want to lose more points.
But to get to the game, like it really is like Sekiro, where like there's a lot of like parrying involved.
Yeah.
Like you want to parry to build up like your meter essentially to like do your special attacks. And your basic attacks do damage, but they don't do a ton of damage.
Yeah.
So like you really need those specials to like execute and kill the enemies that you're fighting.
And it's got that flow state. It's also very Liza P in that way, where like you get in a flow state with some of the enemy movesets where you hit, parry, and then like you get a break attack where like you broke their stagger and you get to like really go off on them. It feels really good, and like it's a nice difficulty level where it's like not as hard as like a Souls game or a Liza P, but like I've died multiple times already, so like it's hitting like a very good flow state.
The best description I heard is that it's not difficult as a Soulsborne game, but it doesn't let you not pay attention.
Yeah.
Like you definitely still need to be paying attention to what's going on and like be involved, but you don't need to be like hardcore like pathing out your moves and like your setups and everything.
I'd put it in like Kingdom Hearts critical mode difficulty, which is like a very nice difficulty curve.
I would put that like I would put it below that.
Maybe a hair below. Well, I'm really good at Kingdom Hearts. So.
I
would say like a level below it, maybe a 2. I don't think it's that difficulty, but like I like when I play, like it's like it's one of those games where like when I step away from it, I'm like whatever. I'm like, I'll play some Stellar Blade. I'm like, now I'm cruising. It's definitely like you said, that flow state. Like you just start going into it and you really start to enjoy it, and like you kind of like just keep playing, right?
And that's the thing. It's got like it really sinks its teeth into you. And back to the Soulsborne stuff. It's not just the combat. Most importantly, it's the level design. It's got like the Soulsborne like go check every corner because there's good stuff to find in every corner. There's all these finding all like the dead bodies of your fallen comrades and getting like huge upgrades from them is like got me checking everywhere.
So speaking of, like, I think one thing is like I'm not a big fan of like post-apocalyptic like worlds like at this level, if that makes sense.
This is where the Nier vibes come in.
Yeah, and so I've always, and that was like kind of one of the things that turned me off to the game. It's like, that's not a setting I'm really interested in. But there's just like one or two like segments of the game that make me go like, this is like interesting what's going on lore wise, and I'm just really keen to know more about like what this all means. And you're not very far into it, but like I'm at like the hub area, and it's just like, why is the game like this, or why is this world like this? Kind of
the lore is good. Like the storytelling is like pretty basic, but the lore is good, and it's engaging. Like it's a engaging, straightforward story so far. But like with the lore being kind of complex, like usually logs, like when you find a dead person's logs, I don't think they're interesting to read. But there's a nice voice to the logs of these fallen human soldiers that you find throughout the world, and like the desperation that they were at waiting for these androids to land into this planet and save them from like really horrifying monsters. Like the monster designs in this game are so disgusting and cool.
And the other thing is too is like sometimes you'll find like a newspaper article or like a longer kind of vlog thing, and this is a personal thing for me, but like the game like highlights like here's like kind of like the important bits that you need to get out of this if you're just gonna skim read it, and yeah, but like if there's still more to read, but like here's like the main thing you probably would need to pay attention to.
Did you read the book in the library early on, like volume 3 of just a book that they have in there?
I probably picked it up. I don't know if I fully read it.
It was like it was interesting. Like there was some sauce and humor to the way it was written, which is like coming off of the localization and writing style Liza P, which I really loved that game. But I said like the prose was really basic. Like I'm quite enjoying this. And yeah, I think there's like a nice beauty to these apocalyptic worlds, the way that they've designed it here. Like just seeing the desolation of it in the level design is really cool. Like a dungeon in this game is like a parking garage, and it's just like a broken down parking garage, but like it uses the levels of it and like the way you loop around in like fun ways. It's like a little mini dungeon and like just a street with like a drugstore. Can be really fun to explore in this game.
It's the one with the boss with the 2 swords on top of it, right? If I'm thinking about the same thing.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, it was the point where it's like, okay, the game's kind of clicking for me and like how the combat's gonna flow.
Same. Out. That was the big flow moment.
I was like, cool.
Let's close this off with like the controversial thing. Joe doesn't like the music in this game, and I'm like, what the fuck?
The music puts me to sleep. It's kind of like I just like I really. It's very low key. I think that's my issue. Like, I don't feel like it feels very upbeat for what I want for an action game.
I don't know, because when you fight when you start a fight, the music like tunes into like its fight mode, and like it's just like I think this is a really good game to give like full focus with the headphones in, because like the little detail, like the sound design's really good between like the rain and the way it vibrates your controllers. Which, by the way, best part of PS5 games is that they actually use the controller really well. Like I don't know, it's just like such a good vibe music. It fits the atmosphere, and I get it. It's not like a Devil May Cry like banger that you fight to, but
I think it fits the atmosphere as well. But I think that also just comes into like, in terms of like settings, this is pretty low on my list. So that it's just I'm not gonna easily vibe to it. I think as you are, right? So it's just like it's whatever. I'd rather have like Devil Trigger playing in my ears. I fight and kill things, but like.
That is the goated game. I think Bradley would like this game
for multiple reasons,
and not just because you're a gooner, but also because you like you like action games, you like Souls games, but sometimes they're difficult. It has the Souls exploring with like combat that's closer to like a Kingdom Hearts, I would say. And more RPG mechanics than some other action games. And worst case scenario, you're playing a hot android that you get to dress up, and you love dressing up. So
that's the thing. I was like, worst case scenario, I'll have that.
So yeah, I'd say keep this on your radar. Actually, I think it's a good vibe, and it doesn't seem that long.
I think I know Bradley's favorite character, but you haven't met them yet, Willard.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I think this was a pretty good pickup, even for like the $70 I paid for it or whatever. Yeah, solid game. I do recommend.
Excited to have takes on it when I get to play more of it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Speaking of games,
to see when you get that hub, how you feel.
Yes, I will let you know. Me and Joe have been, and maybe Bradley, maybe less so. We've been making a lot of progress in Unicorn to the point where Joe beat it.
Oh my god!
I'm still stuck in the middle of Elfheim.
Did you not get past that one mission that you were stuck on?
No, I did eventually.
Okay,
that shit was hard though.
Yeah.
Did you entirely skip Dragonhold, or were you bouncing back and forth, or did you finish Dragonhold?
It's hard to bounce, I feel.
Yeah, I just blew. I blew through most of Dragonhold. That last mission, the very last mission in it, was the one that was giving me trouble.
Is it the one with where you have to defend the Colosseum? No, the one after that, right?
It's like you're trying to like free the I think like the main castle.
Yeah.
It's the castle siege.
It is the last one. That one's pretty tough. Yeah. For where it is.
Yeah. All of those castle siege segments are pretty like.
Well designed.
Difficult.
Yeah, like
no, I love how involved they are. It's not just march here and take over this one thing.
I'm just saying that like I also felt like that one especially, like I was like, oh, this is like really making me like rethink a lot of the way my armies are working. I need to like focus up kind of the thing.
And like to address the one criticism I see about this game really is like that it's too easy to some like hardcore strategy RPG players, but it's like I feel like there's so many ways to mitigate that without even like I'm not even saying like do a challenge run. Like I just spread my army thin, and I've never had a moment where I was like, "Oh, this is too easy. I'm blowing through every battle without taking damage." Like,
oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm using all the mechanics and I'm having a great time. I'm like using items, like I'm going all in, but like I guess I know how to like when the game gives you a good playground to play in, I don't squander it. Like I know how to. Pokemon has taught me how to like squeeze.
I played the whole game and I did not unlock slots 9 and 10 for my army.
Which and like I feel like that would make it super easy too, because like you'd be funneling all your items and stuff, but like. Maybe the people who are having a really easy time are playing with like 4 units or something, and like it's all super funneled. I don't know.
I could definitely see it being.
I am at 99% like map exploration, so I am right there, Joe. I'm going to beat it maybe tonight. In fact, well, it seems like that last mission's long, so maybe next night.
It took me 4 hours to beat the penultimate boss.
Holy shit!
Oh my god! I had to burn through 3 Ashcorn crowns.
Let's go. Okay, that sounds like it seems like you didn't have a good time with that, but I'm cool with having like a fucked up fight at the end.
I have reasons to why I don't like it. I don't want to explain why until you've beaten the game, and we'll probably do it like Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I will say I do like that final scenario. I think it's a very cool final scenario.
Okay.
I also think there's when it comes to like the lore like explained for this game.
Yep, I was just gonna say it. Or
there's you have to go to these buildings after you like you do your Ring of the Maiden. You should have done those buildings after each area. It should not have been like a post game or a post everything.
That makes sense because like I was just thinking because I did those literally yesterday. I was like, oh, the lore of this world's actually super cool, and they just put it all at the last bit of the game.
I was so bizarre because it would have been me really invested to know more about what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, like unpeeling that more gradually would have been really cool.
And like I think it would have been better. And like I think they had like. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, I feel like they were just like, yeah.
I think they were expecting that as soon as you get the Rite of Covenant, you would do it immediately.
Right.
And then that would have that's still like a little late, but it like I did it way later than it's unlocked because I was like, okay, let me unlock all the characters and make sure I pick the right like partner.
Yeah. Could you imagine like you're like, oh, I'll do this, and then you get to Pastorius and you can see Unifi, like you would be pissed,
furious. Well, actually, but yeah, I totally agree with you. Those sanctuary conversations are super interesting and like really fucked up. Like the history of this continent is very dark, actually.
It makes me like once again we were talking about like make a game 2 and make it really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because you got the stuff there. Like, give me some demon shit.
What happened in that other land? Like, let's see some of that. It could be really cool, but it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, like the lore is really good once you get there, but it's a slow burn. I was gonna ask Joe, who did you pick for your ride?
I ultimately picked Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. Virginia was in my 3 choices, which is fucked up. Like me and Joe now are saying that we picked the main character's cousin as our relationship, but it just makes sense. Play the game, trust me.
Yeah. Virginia's also in a weird spot where she's the more interesting main character of the game, right?
Yeah, but it has to be Elaine because gameplay wise, it has to be someone who is just like the perfect royalty to be able to round up this like insane ragtag crew of characters that you do throughout the game. And like Virginia's pissed all the time. She could not pull that off.
She's angry all the time.
It's probably
because she's in fucking heels every time she goes into battle.
Yeah. God, she's slaying though.
Oh god, she is.
So my top 3 there were Unifi, her, and Rosalind, and I ultimately went with Rosalind because I think she had like the best like dynamic, but I think all 3 of them have a really good dynamic. No, and Unifi's got a fat ass, so that's like a bonus. So that is the connecting tissue of these 2 games we were talking about.
I figured Unifi would be the one for you.
It was so close. Maybe like when I do a True Zanorian, I will go Unifi that time.
Yeah. Now, I will say, there's something important about the rings
Okay.
It's a mechanic, but you need them together.
Oh, they have to be in the same unit?
Yeah.
No, that can't ever happen. There's some characters where like I switch my team up like 2 times per continent. Like I do like a full army reset. But there are 2 squads that cannot change. And no, wait, no. I can do that with Rosalind. I'm glad I didn't pick Unifi then. Because Unifi has to be in my flyer team because I built that team around her. And then, like, I have to have 2 of the Cav units together. Like, those are the immutable... And then, actually, the Bestial team has become... I have to have 3 Bestials together. And that's, like, the 3 immutable things of my army, and then everything else changes.
Now, I will say, you don't really need to have them together up until, like, quite literally the very last thing.
But do you, like, need it, or is it just gonna help?
You need it for the very last fight.
You know what? I'm glad you told me, because it'd be kind of a bummer to get stuck there and not figure that out. Is it... Unless they introduce it, like, before the fight starts, and then that's okay, but...
I will say that before that fight starts, you get, like, a reset. Like, everyone goes back into base, and you can, like, redeploy everybody, so you can change people around and everything.
But they don't tell you that you should.
Yeah, they don't give you an indication that they should be together.
Okay, I appreciate it then. That's good to know.
My friend told me that because he beat it before me. He's just like, hey, just make sure you do this. I'm like, okay. And that, to be honest, I also changed the weight of like who I would like, I was going to be like marrying essentially.
Yeah, no, Virginia is a very good like to pair up with Elaine. So yeah.
I regret my decision gameplay wise, but I don't story wise.
Okay, fair enough.
It made it very difficult. But in my top 3 at the end there was, Virginia, Yana, and Etelinde, the other elf girl.
Etelinde's cool too. I think those elf girls, even the elf fencer guy whose name escapes me, cool.
Aphelion.
Yeah, the cool crew. I like them.
There was something about Etelinde that I was like, I don't know what it is about you, but like there's something there for me. I don't know what it is.
All right, you do.
I know what it is.
She also has this really intimate moment with Elaine in like her conversation in like a third.
I did all hers. Yeah, there's some like I yesterday was a do as much as like I can feasibly squeeze in of report conversations and then do all the shrines.
Yeah.
What I have to clean up, Joe, is I have to Granddad. I have to do one of the shrines that you have to do with Bramona. Do you like the Ammonones or whatever they're called? I have to do one of those. I've started doing the missions that you unlock in the first continent that are like, oh, well, this is endgame shit. I've done one of them.
Right, the liberation missions.
Yeah, I did like a 38, and now I'm gonna do the 38 training mission to complete Selvy's quest line, I believe. And I think those are just the major things.
So it's good. I would recommend you definitely do those liberation missions because that will help you strategize for the final mission.
I don't know how that could be, but let's do it. Yes,
it will make sense when you start that final mission.
Yep, fair enough. But yeah, game did the final boss like hurt your enjoyment of the game, you think, or how did that end up?
No. If anything, it just makes me it's more of like a mental note of like, okay, when I get to this, I need to be prepared to do XYZ.
Yeah.
Because it required a team comp that I had never made before.
Awesome.
Like theoretically, you're going to be fine because of your playstyle.
Cool.
But it's
rewarded.
Like we were talking. Yeah. Like we were talking with Tyler, it's just a playstyle that I don't do. So it's antithetical to the way I play strategy games.
Yeah. There are 2 wolves inside you.
Yes. When I finally beat it, I was like, okay, now that the rage has passed and I've gone past this point, I do like the final scenario, and I like what this is. I just had to like get past my grumpiness, essentially.
Fair enough. And I would be grumpy if you didn't tell me what you just did as well, so that's a bonus.
Yeah. You don't need it for that one. You need it for the one after.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll figure out what that is when I get there. I hope there's some good post-game to this. I imagine there is.
I've seen the post-game. It's cool.
Damn. So the thing is, my playthrough is already 90 hours. I did everything. Like
I'm at 94.
Yeah, this has become a Persona game, and I did not expect that, but I did not like it. Like, this is a pleasant surprise, but it's also like the reason why Stellar Blade has barely been played, for example.
I'm so happy that I finished it because that's really freed up my game schedule now. But man, incredibly special game. I think
Coliseum, really fun to just jump in there and just lose a bunch. It's like a fun mode.
Also, really cool to just get inspired and be like, "Oh, that's a cool combination. Let me try that out."
Bradley, have you unlocked the Coliseum? Where you should have, I believe. Have you
I do.
Yeah. I hope you can beat that boss and get back to it, because there's like the third and fourth region are by far the hardest, and like there's fewer missions in them by a little bit, but the missions are like way more complicated in each one.
The Albion final mission.
Insane.
It's crazy.
I looked at that. I was like, "You want me to do all this? What?"
I told you, Willer. I did the mission beforehand. I was like, "Oh, I've got like 2.5 hours before bed. I can do this last mission." I booted up the mission and went, "No, I don't. Not tonight," and turned off the game.
All right, that's good for that. And that'll be like our last main unicorn talk until like Bradley comes in with a quickie one day, or like I do the post game. Tyler, why don't you tell me what the heck Vellum is?
Vellum is a spell-slinging roguelite that portrays itself a little bit like Risk of Rain 2. But it's not quite there. It's not quite at that level. But it's kind of neat. Kind of mid. You play, like, you have like 4 different classes to choose from, and you have like a primary fire and a secondary fire, but everybody, like, they're not classes, but they are. The classes change your ult and your passives and what your mana does, which is from your secondary fire only. But the passive affects your primary fire and your secondary fire. But anyway, you just go through like waves, like 5 or 6 waves. You fight a boss, and then as you go between the waves, you have like upgrades in these different spell books that you do. So like there's 11 different worlds, and each world has a theme around it that you're like ascending towards, and like different ways that you play around it. So like in one of the worlds, it's like a bunch of side objectives that you have to do. So in each round, you have to like complete this side objective, like capture the flag and bring it back to the spawn point, or capture this point, but while you're capturing the point, it's consuming all of your mana, so you can't cast any of your secondary fires.
Okay.
And then in between each round, also, there's 2 upgrade pools. There's the generic upgrade pool, which upgrades everything, like generic things like movement speed, power, all that. But then you have upgrades that tie specifically to your class that you've chosen. So there's like blood magic, a summoner magic, a crit magic, and then like a plague magic. And those class specific ones will upgrade your passives, your mana, and your ultimate in certain ways. And I find those to be really engaging and interesting. It's a third person over the shoulder too, and it can get a little bit overpowered like Risk of Rain 2, but my one thing is like by the time I get overpowered, I'm like stomping the boss. But they literally added an update 2 days ago that creates an endless mode, and we got to the 3rd boss in like our endless run, and it was just one-shotting us. Yeah, which it kind of
endless, is it?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird too, because in Risk of Rain, it's like the longer you explore, the more items you can get, the better you can like refine your build. And this one, it's just kill the things, and then if you chose the right upgrades, you'll go farther. You know, there's no.
I mean, could that be said for like a lot of roguelites? Like, isn't that kind of like one of the primary like?
No, in Risk of Rain, time is a factor. I think that's the one thing that sets it apart, where the longer you dawdle or the longer you take to do things, the harder the game gets and punishes you. I don't know of any other roguelike that does that.
Okay, that's fair. And this doesn't. It's just kind of like
no. It's just You keep progressing. Yeah. Okay. It's not bad. They're doing a lot of work. They're churning out the work very quick, like every 2 to 3 weeks.
It's in early access, right?
Yeah. Sorry, were you saying you don't know any other roguelikes that rush you?
Yeah. That where time makes the game more difficult.
You know how like Risk of Rain works, right, Willer? Time-wise?
Not really. But that's not what this is about. I was just thinking, because like Spelunky is one of those where like if you take too long, you get fucked.
Not that.
Okay, gotcha. Like the mechanics of the run or like the RNG gets tougher as you play.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like you start in like the green zone, and then at like the 10-minute mark, I don't know exactly, it gets to yellow, and that's an upgrade for the rest of the game, essentially. So theoretically, you could run to the end and make it there by the green zone or yellow zone, but you have less shit to use at the end of the
I know a roguelike that does that. It's called God of War Ragnarok DLC.
You hush.
No, but like I don't know if you remember that God of War DLC is a roguelike and it has that mechanic. It's really cool, but anyways.
Yeah. But in between each round, like you gain an upgrade, but at the start of each round, you have to choose like a buff for the enemies as well. Ooh. So you're constantly buffing up yourself and the enemies. And
I do like that. That's cool.
As you progress the game to unlock higher tier like the worlds are called like spell books. So you go into a different spell book with a different theme. But to unlock like the next shelf lower, you have to take in difficulty modifiers like Hades before your run. So you're stacking difficulty modifiers prior to your run into the difficulty modifiers you're gaining throughout your run.
Cool. I like that. I like that pick the poison mechanic. That's really good.
It is cool. You do get to pick which difficulty modifiers you do want. One of them is like zombies. So after every enemy you kill, it just revives itself into a zombie, but all the zombies are a specific type of enemy called splicers. So if you take an upgrade that specifically buffs splicers while you're having the zombie modifier, you're upgrading all the zombies on top of other non-zombie splicers.
So you've basically upgraded every enemy in the game.
I think there's 3 or 4 different enemy types.
But that's cool because like it makes you think about it. You essentially have 2 builds you have to worry about, yours and the enemies that you are crafting yourself. That's a really neat mechanic.
Man, yeah, that needs to come into more stuff. That's an easy steal.
It is a very neat game. And that is my analysis of it. It's neat. I'm not disappointed with my purchase. It wasn't crazy expensive.
Of course.
I think I only played like 12 or 13 hours, but you know what? Out of a game like that, I'm not upset by it. I had good multiplayer fun. We only got to play it with 2 people. If any third players ever got it, I would definitely pick it up and play it again.
Is it cross-play? What's it on?
It's on PC, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Only.
It's in early access, so it's only going to be on PC until.
Fair enough. Maybe one day. Seems cool. And
very neat.
All right.
Ooh, you have like a steering wheel ability. That's like a ship steering wheel.
So,
yeah, you shoot like anchors, and that's like the minigun mechanic.
Kingdom Hearts did it first. Joe.
Yeah.
We have a topic that I believe is supposed to be so good that you could talk about it for 30 minutes. So, in the best of your ability, condense into like a 10-minute chat on what's going on with X-Men 97, because
this is interesting.
I have heard nothing but the most stellar praise for this show.
Oh, they cooked so good. So when I saw the preview for X-Men 97, I wasn't really 100% sold with the trailer because it was a bit choppy. And like the voice syncing wasn't good, and like it was just some weird. It wasn't really hooking me.
Wasn't it too woke for the internet, as I recall?
X-Men has been woke since it was written.
Yeah,
I'll say that's like in the DNA.
That's the thesis of the entire series.
That is the M gene.
Yes.
Is that the right lore? Fuck! God damn it! I was like mutant gene, right? No, I tried.
Whatever.
I'm such a fraud.
But yeah, no, this is so when I came into this show thinking it's like, oh, it's gonna be very nostalgic. We're kind of really like go with those like early, like we're gonna go with those 1990s like cartoon vibes. We got the aesthetic going. They brought on a bunch of the original cast. It's really weird to hear Jennifer Hale as Jean Grey. I just want to say, but also pretty cool. And so going into the series, I was like, okay, it's gonna be like a nice like kids show that and it's gonna be very nostalgic to like those old TV shows. The thesis of that show is the inverse of that. In essence, the show is about waking up to the real world. And I think that's all I really want to kind of give away in terms of the plot of the show and the way it's structured, because it has a very similar thing with, like, you know how in Better Call Saul, the final season, it had 3 more additional episodes, Willer?
Mm-hmm.
And,
I mean, we've all seen it yet.
Yeah, but how you and I watched that episode that it should have ended on, right? What would be the normal episode number for it on. And we're like, if the show ended here, it ended on a nice happy ending, right? It really tied things into like a pretty neat bow.
But the first of the bonus episodes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
nippy.
Yeah, but then it's just like, well, there's 3 more episodes. What's going to happen?
Uh-oh.
And things really fall off the rails to your paradise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And X-Men's doing the same kind of thing, where it's taking its structure and kind of taking your expectations for it and twisting them in interesting ways. In a meta sense, I would say. There's I think episode 9 is currently out. I will watch it after this podcast. I have not watched it yet, but there's only been one episode that I was kind of like, this one's a bit of a filler episode, but I think it was really important that episode was a filler episode for that purpose.
Oh, I love it. I love thematically incredibly important filler, aka like Breaking Bad Fly, for example. Like, those are some of my favorite episodes, actually.
And so like the show has just been like cooking on all cylinders. Like, the animation for it is stellar. The dialogue is witty. It's got that camp wittiness of like 1990s, but it's also like got some really poignant like verse 2 when it comes to like talking about like, you know, being a mutant, racism, bigotry, and stuff like that, and what it means to like of tolerance and everything. That has been, and they do it in a way that is still like family friendly. There's no swearing so far in the show that I have seen, but I would say the show is not necessarily 100% kid friendly.
Wow, that's so interesting. Is there violence, like notable violence?
Yes, there is notable violence in the show.
Okay, well the swearing is whatever at that point.
Yeah, but the violence is. I don't want to give anything away, but there's a purpose for that gratuitous violence at one point. That goes back to that theme of waking up to the real world.
Mm-hmm. It's giving peak, as the kids say.
I've really been enjoying it a lot. Episode 5 in particular is just fucking stellar, and really kind of like is the show like putting its hand on the table. It's like, this is actually what we're going to be talking about now. Kind of the feeling. And
how many episodes is this supposed to be?
I think it's supposed to be 12.
Ooh, okay. You got some left in the tank, so.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, I think so. But yeah, So I've been really, really enjoying it. Oh, it's supposed to have 10. So actually, we are
at the penultimate episode. That must feel not great.
Sorry. We're at episode 8 tonight.
Gotcha.
My apologies. We're going to have, I think, a 3-part finale essentially starting tonight, which I think is fine. That being said, there are some things about X-Men that I should probably let y'all know about. One thing in particular, and the biggest thing is that a lot of X-Men stories are very soap opera-y, if you know what I mean. Like Long Lost Brothers. Oh wait, hold on. Shit. Give me 1 second.
A little bit of technical difficulty. Joe, you were saying melodrama is a part of X-Men, and I'm shocked.
So like a big part of X-Men is that you have like these really soap opera-y like storylines, like, oh, your long lost brother, he just showed up, or oh my god, you actually had a child with this person, or like that's your long lost son, like stuff like that. And I think that can turn people away because it's like, why are we feeling like, why is this part of the plot and why is this part of like character motivations? And I thought that for a long time. And I kind of came to the conclusion is that the big thesis of X-Men is understanding the people that you don't understand, right? And so,
sure.
and that's kind of, yeah, which is like one of the big, like, kind of primary, like, kindling or just primary, like underlying feelings that people have when it comes to like terrible, um, like opinions on like bigotry, racism, stuff like that. Like it's born out of fear and just not understanding like other people where they come from and who they are and just like wanting to protect your own, not defending those people, but like those are kind of the sparks that start the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, like, and that's what drives those very anti-mutant people and villains in the show, because to be honest, if you woke up the next morning and someone went, hey, a third of the population can read the other 2/3 of the population's mind, I think that would freak a lot of people out, me included, right? Like just knowing that there's like one of the 3 people in the room could possibly be reading other people's like brains.
That is, yeah.
So it's in like, yeah, and like it's and that the other side of that, of course, like that those people don't have control of it. Like they don't just get to like choose to have mind reading powers. But the reason like those soap opera things are in there is because you can understand like the human aspect of like your characters, of like what might drive them to act in a way that's illogical even when they have these powers, and why that might cause fear for other people in the world because they are just as human as everyone else. So kind of hamming it up a little bit allows them to kind of give some more motivation and kind of really show like the volatility of people, and that it's like you're not infallible even with or without these powers.
No.
And so yeah, so it's just one thing to keep in mind when like a clone shows up and everyone's like, what the fuck? And they all have like the parlor scene where they're sitting around discussing it and they're like, Scott, what are you gonna do? And Wolverine's like sad in the corner because he doesn't get the hot redhead.
As is usual.
As is usual. But I just something to keep in mind because like one of the important scenes is that like Scott and Jean are having this turmoil, and Jean uses her powers to peer into Scott's brain to see what he's thinking, and that just sparks more problems.
That's no bueno,
so,
Jean.
Yeah, so it's just something to keep in mind there because I think like especially a lot of us like really like our tight characters that kind of, I don't want to say like act logically, but just have some good reasons as to why they're acting the way they are. And sometimes characters just like act in a certain way for like the simplest of reasons, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind is that like expect to get that like melodrama, romantic like triangles, stuff like that. Just but like it's part of trying to make them to make like how make you feel like more human. You're in a school together, of course, like these 2 guys are going to be competing for the same girl. Like that's just going to happen when you're living with 12 people in the same house that you're not related to. But I just like, yeah, the show's been really good. To really get into it, you just need like know a basic idea of like what all the X-Men do power wise. Like if you just know like Cyclops shoots beams, Beast and Storm and everything, you're going to be fine. It's a pretty good entry point. They were cutting some deep cuts in some of these episodes when it came to pulling shit from the X-Men series. One episode in particular will throw, I think, 90% of the viewer base off, as like, what the fuck is happening? Why is this here? Like, it's very.
This one's for the fans.
Yeah, and I don't particularly like that storyline, either way. But I think what they do there, it's short, it's brief, and it does its purpose, I think, fairly well to the overall like message of the story. I'm very excited to see what these next 3 episodes are going to, or how they're going to be, and like how we're going to resolve everything. And to bring it up again, like the action, this is so good. Like it's so good, and there are team combos going on.
Nice.
Like, I don't know if you've seen any of the clips, Willer, but like they're doing just some crazy cool shit. Like at one point, Gambit jumps on Wolverine's back and gives him a buff to his claws, where he gives him his energy that he usually puts in his card, and he like blasts off with it and cuts up dudes with it. It's sick. But yeah, it's been been
Marvel Ultimate Alliance shit.
Yeah, for sure. It's been incredibly good. I think you will all enjoy it in some way or another.
I was gonna ask, is anyone else thinking of checking this out?
I'll be checking it out once the show ends.
Yeah, because it's like a fill-in for Invincible, I think, for you, Tyler. And one thing I remember, like, just a random Bradley phase was when Bradley was randomly into Juggernaut.
Yeah,
man, that fucking reminds me. Oh my god, did Free Comic Book Day already pass?
I think so.
Cause fuck, I was gonna get I was looking up if one of the places near me had that Juggernaut comic that came out in 2020. Because Juggernaut's the fucking man.
Bradley, I got some good news for you. Free Comic Book Day is Saturday, May 4th.
Let's fucking go. I'm gonna go get that comic book because I read it and it was god tier.
You gonna check this out, Bradley? You're an X-Man?
I was wondering because like I never watched the original series, so I didn't know if I would like this, but.
No, the only thing you should know is that at the end of the original X-Men series, someone attempted to assassinate Professor X, almost did so, like he was on his deathbed, and some aliens came and took him to outer space.
Wait, okay, so this is a follow-up to the original? But like...
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
But you don't need to know most of it, just that there was an assassination attempt.
There was an assassination attempt, and that for everyone that is not an X-Man, everyone assumes that it happened.
So they think Professor X is dead?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Well, that is important to know. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I they've given like Cyclops some great scenes. Magneto has such a fire line at the end of episode 2. It was so good.
For my money, Magneto's always the best character in it. I'm not a big X-Men guy, but Magneto's just so clearly the most delicately best written.
This is definitely like taking up like the storyline of like Magneto like realizes Charles Xavier is dead, and he feels regretful of the fact that he tried so hard to stop his dream that he's taking up that mantle instead, and he's dealing with that struggle of like changing his dichotomy and his worldview for his dead friend, which is a really interesting storyline. But I know, man, there's a Jean Grey, there's a Jean Grey outfit that I was really kind of upset happened because, man, that was just too much for me.
That's enough out of you, Joe. That was a good, concise selling us on X-Men 97.
100% recommend. I definitely think you should check it out, all of y'all, in some form.
I'm gonna wait till it's over.
Yeah, you got 3 more weeks.
Speaking of, I'll switch things around. Joe, but not Tyler, right, has watched Invincible Season 2, Part 2?
Yes, I've watched it.
The cool thing is I've read it all. So,
true.
But they are changing some. I don't think they're changing a whole bunch up, but their pacing is different.
Yes, their pacing is much faster, I assume, based on just the first season. But yeah, Invincible Season 2 came out. Season 2 Part 2 came out. I just want to say, whoever decided that, like, hey, let's release this in December and then wait, I think 6 weeks before we release the next half of the series, should be demoted. I don't know if they should be fired, but I think they should be, like, have a nice, like, little slap on the wrist and be like, maybe we don't do that next time.
They need to be put on pip.
Yeah, like, it just was not the smart move because it really flew under the radar that even Tyler forgot about it, and I forgot about it until Cosmonaut Marcus put his quickie video on it, and I went, "Oh shit, this is done! I guess I'll watch it." And I did.
I didn't know this came out. Not that I haven't watched the season yet, but yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the final part of Season 2?
Yes.
When it comes out in 6 weeks? Okay, because that's probably when I should get in on it. It's done?
It's done. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, I should get in.
Yeah. Second half of Season 2, regardless of all that, really good. I really, really enjoyed it.
Did the animation get better?
No,
it did.
Of course
it
not.
did. It did in some parts. There's even an episode in a segment where they're talking about animation that made me laugh.
Dude, I saw that fucking clip where he's talking to the dude, and the dude's like, animators will actually use weird tricks. Like, whenever someone's talking, the camera's behind their head, so you can't see their face, and animators don't have to animate the mouth. And while he's explaining that, they're doing that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Funny.
It's kept its humor, but it's also done a really good job of like keeping its serious tone. I think Invincible like does a really good job balancing its humor and its like seriousness. Like it knows when to switch switch between the two and like how to integrate the two very good. The voice acting is great. Seth Rogen is always, every time he talks, I'm surprised that he's in it. Every time I'm like, oh, Seth Rogen. Oh, it's Alan the Alien. All right, whatever. And I can't picture that guy with any other voice at this point, Tyler.
He's cursed.
Yeah, but like in a good way. Like that, Seth Rogen does a great job in voicing Alan, I think, especially this season.
Yeah, like I think actually one of his best voice acting roles.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but it was very, very good. J.K. Simmons killing it as always. Let's see what else is there. But I don't go into much details. Oh, Rexplode. Like one of my favorite characters.
Is Rex peak? Because I've always felt like he had a good character arc set up in season 1.
Rex develops.
Oh, yes, let's go.
I am very much excited to see more.
And he's fucking Derek, right? From Good Place.
Yeah.
Oh,
Derek.
That's so
my
good.
God. Tyler. That scene where he is with Multicate and I forget what the other girl is. That, oh my God, that is absurd.
Wait, hold on. Let me take a look. Everybody else cover your ears.
Okay. Let me know when I'm good.
Joe, which part specifically?
Where it's Rexplode, Multicate, and it's the girl that like shrinks and expands. And they have to go fight the lizard people, like the Lizard King.
Oh yeah.
That's like one of the rough scenes. Maybe the rough scene of the season.
Yeah.
It's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, the Lizard Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, come back, Willard.
When I got home. But yeah, but no, I've really enjoyed season 2, and I'm looking forward to season 3. I don't really have anything else to talk about it that's not spoiler.
I don't think we'll get to your favorite character until season 4.
I think we got a preview when they were doing some stuff with the main villain, quote unquote, of the season.
I hate this character. I think this character is so fucking stupid.
Well, Tyler loves this series, by the way. Don't forget this.
No, we're talking about the new villain.
Yeah,
he's so fucking lame.
Yeah, but I think that's the point. That's the ultimate point.
It's the point. But okay, this is like Age of Ultron antagonist lane. Like not Ultron. Civil War, Captain America: Civil War.
Zemo rules. So
yeah,
Zemo rules.
Try again.
Try again.
No, Zemo's very lame. He's just a guy.
And
doing
for
some
that
stupid shit.
For that reason and that reason alone, he rules.
No,
I will say that but he does his job for what it's supposed to do for Marvel.
Does he do his job in season 2 or not yet?
Oh, I believe so. I don't know how.
Does season 2 have the I thought you were stronger panel that I've seen like a billion times?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Cool. I want to close this segment off as we must close off every Invincible segment of us lamenting the fact that we are enjoying this Bradley-ass show without Bradley that he would love, all because he didn't watch one scene, and I hate it.
I can't believe I missed that, man.
Please, but the thing is...
But I know, but it's not the same when you know.
God damn it, just watch it, please!
No, I will.
Joe, I'm ready for season 3, and the bad scene that happens there.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to
that. Bad scene is in season 3, and I don't know. I would not be surprised. Like, here's the thing: there are 2 ways they could do it. They could just, it's as bad as the subway scene.
I was just about to ask: is there anything in season 2 that approaches that level?
I would say doesn't get to that level, but there is definitely like a scene that like gets pretty gruesome.
In season 3, there's a moment. Okay, if they put it in season 3, because it happens soon, there's a moment that they're either gonna off-screen or put a warning label at the start of the episode.
Whoo, boy.
That's my theory.
Okay, man. Episode 8 of Season 1 that Bradley will talk to us about next podcast is still one of the most jaw-dropping experiences I've had in the last
Did
couple
Bradley
of years.
not watch the best moment of the show?
He hasn't watched anything! No, he hasn't. But that's that. Tyler, I want you to tell me about your Boruto adventure that you've gone into recently for some reason.
Yeah, how's that going?
We do a monthly podcast now at this point, and Boruto comes out monthly. So I end up talking about it inevitably during each podcast.
No, you almost never talk about Boruto, as far as I remember.
I like I have, because I complain about the trees.
Yeah, no, the trees come up from time to time, but yeah.
So they're fighting world trees that sprouted up out of the ground. Like, okay, Boruto the anime might be one of the worst animes ever made.
You heard it here.
Like, it is so bad. The pacing is awful. The show, like, half of it has nothing to do with anything, and the characters are developing poorly. Reading this post time skip, and it's only like what, 8 chapters in or something.
Yeah, it seems recent.
I'm intrigued by this world. Like, do y'all remember? Did any of y'all ever watch the first episode of Boruto?
No. I never got in.
So the first episode of Boruto has an adult Boruto and some other guy, which is like the Sasuke of this show.
It Kawamatsu or whatever? Kosaki?
Yeah,
Okay.
They're like standing on the side of the destroyed Mount Ninja Rushmore.
Yeah.
And they're like fighting. That is where the time skip begins, essentially.
But he's an adult.
He gets the Naruto treatment where he becomes like 13 or 14 to like 16 or 17.
Well, when you said adult, you just meant okay, slightly older.
Young adult. He ages the same amount as Naruto does.
That's cool.
Yeah, it gets to the good part, and kind of everything leading up to it is just like Boruto pre-time skip could have been probably a 20-part mini arc.
Mm-hmm. And they dragged it on for years, basically.
Yeah. Like I don't know. It feels like nobody really develops. The side characters are more irrelevant than the Naruto characters ever were.
Damn.
That isn't to say they don't exist. They have really cool powers. They're like the children of all the characters that you grew up liking. I don't know. Anyway,
it's some Sims bullshit where they just paired up some characters and they offspring some clones.
Well, developed a bunch of relationships a little bit.
That's good.
Like, the filler kind of was like side filler where it wasn't too crazy. But I like something that happened in this most recent episode. So, the trees have absorbed people, okay? And they've become like human-esque form. And those human forms have the same chakra as the people they absorbed. So there's like a Sasuke tree, you know? Because Sasuke got absorbed. And there's a couple of other trees. And the Jiraiya clone, I think, is still around. So, you know, they retconned the worst mistake they ever made in the show.
Okay, you might be saying too much. What do you mean Jiraiya? You know what? No, let's skip that. I don't want to know more about Jiraiya.
Oh, you don't know about Jiraiya's clone?
Stop talking about Jiraiya's clone.
Anyway.
Wait, hold on. Back that up 2 steps. Are you saying what happened to Jiraiya and Naruto is one of the worst things they ever did?
Yeah.
That's one of the best things they ever did. Oh my god.
Like yes, but
That's some of the best content in Naruto.
No, dude, they could have done that to like
It has to be Jiraiya.
It did have to be Jiraiya because that was pain.
Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
Like it's necessary, sure.
It just hurts the most. It's the one that hurts the most.
Okay, you know what? No, it could have been like Tsunade.
It has to be Jiraiya.
No, it could have easily been Tsunade.
No, Tsunade's gotta live. We did a whole arc about
Jiraiya.
Okay. Whatever. You're right. Anyway. So the trees are looking for Naruto Uzumaki. Remember, this is a different world where everyone has been brainwashed by,
some villain to think that Boruto's a bad guy.
She just exists in the world.
Right. The way you explained it was cool, but don't remind me because I want to forget.
Yeah, she used world tier magic to make everyone think that Boruto, who has the same name as Naruto, is not the son of Naruto, but Kawamaki is. Yeah. And Boruto killed Naruto, but Kawamaki is obsessed with Naruto and was like, Naruto, you're gonna die, and put him in like put him in like the prison realm.
So Naruto's not dead. You didn't just spoil Naruto's. No, I would have heard about Naruto.
No, yeah, you would know.
Yeah, I would know.
You would know. But
shout out Jujutsu Kaisen real quick.
He is the character who did die. And that was all over the internet.
I missed it, thankfully, so that's good.
Okay, there was a very major important character death on par with Jiraiya, and was in the show longer than Jiraiya, and Sasuke. No. Yeah, actually.
In Boruto?
No, in Naruto.
Shit, but you're saying there's a Boruto death of a really Okay, yeah, I completely missed this. Okay, damn.
I think I talked about it. Anyway, they're looking for Naruto Uzumaki, and they're like hunting down Naruto's chakra, which is like, it shouldn't exist in this world. So it's like we as the reader know it doesn't exist. So they're like, who are they hunting? And they just like instant transmission into the Hidden Leaf Village, and the Hidden Leaf Village is going crazy. And then they find Naruto's daughter, which I don't know her name.
Isn't it like Miwara or something?
Himawari?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But they find his daughter, and it's like, why is your chakra the same as Naruto's? Which I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. And the chapter ends on a really cool note. So I'm intrigued. I'm engaged. This is involving Boruto a lot, who is not a bad character. Boruto is actually a cool character I enjoy seeing. Boruto is like a genius. He's followed the path of Sasuke without being an edgelord. He's just like a really strong ninja. Like, imagine if Goku had died and Gohan was the one like continuing the story here on.
Oh, you mean the better? Well,
yes.
Let's not slander Toriyama, but yeah, it is the good timeline.
He's just better than Naruto in like every way, except he just doesn't have the time that Naruto has on him.
I mean, is he a better character than Naruto? Because my appreciation for
that
I don't believe, because
he's not. He doesn't run around saying "believe it." Like, he considers the emotions of the people around him, and
Naruto is the most empathetic dude. You need to rewatch Naruto. I'm at a point in life where
Naruto is empathetic to like one villain per arc.
No, yeah, but that changes the world every time. I'm at like a high, I'm at a point in life where my opinion of Naruto as a series and as a character is at an all-time high. Like, my appreciation for him, and like, I've been doing like a slow reread. I think Naruto is a brilliant character. So you watch your mouth right now.
Zabuza, all the
Zabuza,
people,
Haku, he
Does
gets to
fight Orochimaru?
Yes, and the Tenkachi Bridge, which is like one of the weakest parts of the story. But he also gets through the Tsunade. Gaara is like the ultimate show of empathy. The whole story is about showing Sasuke empathy. So, and then Pain, fucking Obito.
So three characters.
I just listed like 7.
Anyway, it's like 4.
Oh my god. I can't believe I'm having to defend Naruto against our biggest Naruto fan.
Anyway, it involves... Okay, here's the coolest shit, alright? So, Ino and Shikamaru have their, like, telepathy network and everything, and somehow, what's Sasuke's daughter name? God, I'm so bad at anime.
Even I know that one. That's Sarada. Sarada.
Anyway, okay, Sarada, so the, Sharingan was immune to, like, the world-changing magic, so Sarada knows Boruto as Naruto's son, and she, like, keeps trying to convince Shikamaru. You know, you ever had one of those dreams where you're, like, telling the people inside your dream that they're in a dream, and they don't believe you?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's going on. And then Shikamaru gets on a telepathy network with Boruto at some point. So, like, now Shikamaru is, like, he doesn't remember Boruto ever being Naruto's son, but he's, like, doubting that Kawamatsu is telling the truth because Shikamaru is, like, Kawamaki is not... He thinks Kawamaki's lying, and he believes Boruto more than he believes Kawamaki. And it's, like, this really cool thing because Shikamaru is... Do you want a spoiler about Shikamaru?
What I know about Shikamaru and Boruto is that he's, like, Naruto's right-hand man, which I think is really cool.
Okay, but now Naruto's not there, so what would that make Shikamaru?
Whoa! He's Hokage?
Shikamaru is now the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf Village.
Wait, that's the hypest shit. No, this is really cool.
It's very fucking hype. Like, this is an alternate dimension where the worst case scenario has happened. It's really cool. And don't forget that the Moon Angels still exist.
I don't know who that is, but
the Moon People have possessed Kawamaki and Boruto, but through their own power, they're able to keep them at bay. But if Kawamaki and Boruto get too close, they have like a Hitchcock effect where they start to do, like, the Moon People will take over their body and, like, kill everybody and use Moon People power. But Kawamaki can control his, but Boruto is now stronger than Kawamaki, but Boruto can't control his Moon Person for some reason. So, like, Kawamaki's constantly trying to hunt Boruto down and kill him, but every time he gets close, he's like, wait, the Moon Person's coming out. Like, and Boruto keeps, like, brushing him off, like, Kawamaki's nothing to him anymore. He did, like, 2 or 3 years of, like, super training, and he's like, he is on a level.
Now that is interesting because it's like the inverse of the Naruto-Sasuke dynamic, so that's pretty neat. Is there an explanation to why he's brushing? They'll tell me, but I'm just curious if, like, they explained.
Oh, no, like, Boruto is so much stronger than Kawamaki, and, like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care that everybody hates him or doesn't remember him as Naruto's son. Boruto is literally... You know who he is? He's Itachi Uchiha. Well, he is like Itachi going as the rogue villain trying to save the world.
That's... man. I don't like these conversations because, like, that sounds cool, but, like, every time I think of Boruto, I just think of, like, how much I like Naruto now, and it's like... It just seems like Diet Naruto with, like, less cohesive themes. Because that's, like... I think all of y'all should read Naruto, because I like the themes of it. Like, if you can get past, like, the melodrama that is Naruto sometimes, where, like, it takes itself, like, very seriously in the emotional moments, but, like, it's really peak when it all comes together. So, like, I might
go back and reread Boruto pre-time skip, but there's still, like, Boruto still has, like, it's the predecessor of Naruto, so, like, there are some moments in the anime where they give really hype as fuck moments. Yeah. Successor, not predecessor, my bad.
You mean Boruto's dad is actually Boruto's dad's son?
Yeah.
That's how this is gonna end.
There is a mini arc where Sasuke time travels to fight dinosaurs.
Okay, whatever. You know what? We've had enough. Let's move on.
Something good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Vinland Saga Season 2, if you want to talk about something good. I watched it. I finished it just today.
Oh, excellent.
That went real quick from I'm watching it to I'm binging it.
What happened was...
you saw Askeladd in Hell?
I took a nap yesterday, and my plan was to have it done by this podcast, and I was way behind. I was like on episode 14. So I've been like, I just threw it on, worked on my personal project, watched a shit ton of it, and then watched like the last 2 episodes today. Cool. One during lunch and like one after work while I was waiting for y'all to get on. Yeah, that is one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever created. What
Willer.
the fuck?
Willer, I have no enemies.
Oh my, guys. So every once a while back, I made a list of like my top 100 media, and then protagonists and antagonists. And after doing this, I had to revisit that and make some very tough decisions, such as who do I like more, Blake Thorburn or Thorfinn?
God damn.
And that is like the level of character we're operating on. This motherfucker went immediately to my top 10 favorite protagonist of all time. He is,
as we predicted,
he is generationally good. Like, bro, and I talked about this like in early season 2. I think it's episode 4. You've been seeing Thorfinn for a while in the season, but you haven't like gotten to really dive into what's going on in his mind. And in episode 4, there's this like heartbreaking scene where he's having nightmares, and he just like really lets Einar know like, why should I even be alive? And like all of that just integrates so well with how we left them off in season 1. And that's just like the beginning point. Like this entire season is watching, like, if season 1 is watching the dehumanization of Thorfinn, season 2 is watching Thorfinn become an exceptional human being once again. And boy, is he exceptional. Like, the fact that the thing in episode 23 led to what it led to was just like this insane fairy tale moment that I couldn't believe was happening. Like, they cut the conversation off, and then there's like the historical epilogue that they do sometimes. And the content that they covered there, it could even be a criticism of like how jarring and fast that's covered. Like, oh my god, like the entire dynamic of this world just changed after this scene. But I think it's acceptable, because I think the series is, because they did it at the end of season 1 too, where they just like fast forward a ton of stuff that happens historically in the world. But the point is, like, it's not necessarily about watching that other character's journey. It's about watching how Thorfinn impacts that character and vice versa, and how the world impacts them. And I don't know if this is the vibe y'all got, but like season 2 of Vinland Saga is one of the best explorations of toxic masculinity I've seen in anything. Literally, like, there is 10 different angles that this season tackles the idea of toxic masculinity and toxic masculine culture. And it's just so cohesive when you, like, look at the full package of everything they covered. Like, just absolutely stunned. Like, I don't think there's a single male character that is not influenced by that theme in this season. That's not to disregard some of the amazing female characters this season, particularly Arnheid. That storyline really moved me. It is the slave woman at Ketel's farm.
Okay. Yeah. I got to that arc, and I was just like, oh, this is, I was like, as soon as I saw Thorfinn, I was like, oh, this is just going to be fantastic.
I would hazard to say that is, and I'm lowballing it, like, I'm being conservative, top 10 arcs of all time, Farmland.
Oh,
it's amazing.
It's fantastic. Willard, to add on more as to why I prefer the manga more.
Okay.
This panel, he looks fucking destroyed.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think the anime covered it pretty well.
He looks a bit cartoonish in the anime, like he's got the swollen face and everything. But I like it. I think the anime brings some levity to where it's needed. Particularly, have you ever seen an anime give 2 characters the same name? It's something that happens everywhere in life, and I was just like, thank you. I've been waiting for this forever. That's in the manga.
Yeah, no, but like, it's just great to see a series do that, because like, of course. Also, there's so many people named Thor something in this series, so that's also funny.
Yeah, season 2, it's also such a departure to like this story itself, like what's going on. Because
it's a completely left turn from what season 1 is.
The prologue is like all action. It's like seinen, like it's like berserk level of shit happening.
Like this proves that a seinen story doesn't have to be gritty or even necessarily like this has darkness in it, but like it doesn't have to be like super serious about like its pessimism in the world.
Yeah, it's not like hopeless.
And I'm sure, and from what I understand from what Bradley's told me, and when Joe allows us to do so, I'll find out one day as well. Berserk gets there eventually as well. So I think that's really cool about these like series that start like very dark.
It's all about crawling out of the hole. It's not about staying in the hole.
About crawling out of a very particular hole that they highlight very well. I went back and re-listened to our last talk, and I say, I hope a certain character rots in hell, and Joe says, funny you should say that. I was like, unreal episode, by the way. That's Valhalla right there. That is what they're fighting for.
Yep.
Incredible stuff.
Willer, you know King Canute's speech by the sea?
Yes.
That is a real event that happened.
Oh, that is so peak! What?
They have historical records of that speech.
Holy shit, that gives me chills. That is so cool.
Yeah. Canute, like,
Canute
real
is... What a character.
Oh man, that scene when he's talking to the corner of his house.
Yeah, no, I feel that. That is a good narrative device. I think this show uses ghosts in a way that is like cheesy but very good. Very
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
Very Shakespearean ghosts of like they are there but not there. You know, they're part of your own hauntings.
Let me go through some of my other. I took notes. Einar and Thorfinn's dynamic. Holy shit! I've been needing this in my life. Injected into my vein. Einar is my second favorite character in this show. Thorfinn is my first, and like just like them together is just a joy to watch. What a man Einar is in his own way. Just like it was so fascinating because when like you learn more about I just said it, Arnheim. Einar doesn't hesitate for a moment in helping her. You would think like there would be like a jealousy arc or like some sort, but like he's just such a good guy where he's just immediately like there's got to be some way I can help the situation. I thought that was like that said so much about him. You have that scene where like just Thorfinn realizing he no longer hates Askeladd is just the most insane character development considering that's all he was in the past. And just like Thorfinn's guilt is like after everything I've done to people in my youth, how can I even stand to be mad at people? How can I even stand to think that I have the right to fight for myself? Is just such a satisfying arc. And I was actually kind of worried that they would take Thorfinn's character development too far, and I'm like, maybe that can still happen. Like I talked about earlier, where like My Hero Academia has a theme that it sticks to, and I don't fully agree. I could see them going a little like too hard with pacifism, considering the cruelty of the world they live in. But like,
I think we're gonna. I haven't read too far past this point, but I think we're gonna get to a point where like there's a difference between pacifism and protecting what is like your home and like your people, right? There's a big distinction between the two, and Thor's his dad obviously understood that, which is I think the next step or one of the steps he has to realize as well.
It's maybe the way you can read that is like Thor's didn't fight back in that scene because he knew that like he knew that was a moment where not fighting back could still yield a positive result or something like that. That's how you could read it.
It's season 2 is just it once again if Vinland Saga ended with like at the end of season 2 with where what's his name Thorfinn ends up, I would kind of just be satisfied if like this was just the story that we were here to tell.
It kind of like makes my gut wrench a little bit, where it's like, oh no, I know there's at least 2 more arcs after this, which means at least 2 more seasons, and I don't want to see him suffer.
Yeah.
It's tough. Speaking of like tough feelings, I don't know if y'all got this vibe this season, but like at every step of the way, from like very early on, I was just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like this season has the most peaceful dread of maybe anything I've seen. Where like what's happening is like, you know, yeah, they're getting harassed by the farmhands, but like you feel like there's something even more sinister brewing.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it comes together, like Canute's journey this season too. What a motherfucker that guy is as well.
What a man! What a dude!
What a dude!
What a Bradley-ass character that Bradley doesn't know exists.
Canute is, I think, let's take some bets between us. Who is more Bradley core, Canute or Thorfinn?
Definitely Thorfinn.
Yeah, I think he might be a Thorfinn boy like me.
But I think also like he would totally vibe with Canute. Like he totally would.
I gotta Google what these motherfuckers look like.
No, don't.
Okay,
Actually, don't, because the designs I would say are like light spoilers to see how they age.
I mean, considering the way that Canute looks in season 1 and how he looks in season 2 is huge. It tells a lot about the character.
And then just some characters I want to highlight are also Omar and Cadel. Cadel is like a very interesting character for his role, where it's like his farm, Cadel's farm.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say something. About.
It's you go first. Yeah.
Cadel is the boss that you have that smiles and brings you lunch every morning, but also knows that he can fire you and can move on with his life.
It's not even that like he knows that. It's more of a theme of like when the chips are down, that kind of person. There is no that good kind of person when the pressure's on.
Yeah. Especially because like in actuality, if he was a good person, he would not have the deal as it was with Thorfinn and what's his name.
I don't know if I fully agree with like.
Well, think about it.
It's a win-win.
He's a man who doesn't consider the morals and laws of the world. He just abides by them.
Yeah, he abides by them and tries to do it nice, but the laws of the world are such where, like, by abiding by them, you are leading yourself to corruption.
But also think about where he is in the world and how much, like, he is outside of it until something happens where he is forced to be part of it.
And the way that he puts himself into it is the most toxic way possible.
Yes. And, like, so think about it that way where it's just, like, when the chips are down,
who are you?
Thorfinn, and Thorfinn and, God, what's his name?
Omar? Cadel?
No, the best friend.
Einar.
Thorfinn and Einar are still slaves.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. That does not change that fact. And I think that's a really interesting thing to think about. With that character,
I was almost pissed when a certain character showed up looking for Thorfinn, and I thought that they would bait me once again for a second. I was like, "Don't you fucking do that! Progress that storyline, or I'm gonna kill you."
I thought so too. Yeah. I did. I'm glad that they. I
was not disappointed.
Yeah.
And incredible characters. I'll throw in Snake is also a very good character, and I have a good feeling we'll see more Snake in the future. Just by the way that turned out. So this has been a lot of recommendations that I think fall towards Bradley, but I really, 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 now that I've experienced it all, think Bradley, you would not just like this, I think this would be one of your favorite anime.
Fuck yeah.
Think of all the positives of Attack on Titan, but like way less edgy. With like a more, it's our world, so it doesn't have like the cool world building or the high stakes, but it has like the good character development and like drama that Attack on Titan has at like its peak.
This thing sounds like the characters are solid.
Characters are
also just like
beyond solid.
I think way better pacing at the beginning as well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
In terms of like what's happening, and very clearly like here are the characters you should connect to, and like be attached to them. I think that's another like kind of like.
True, it doesn't bait you as hard as Attack on Titan does.
Yes, but it does a good job at like pulling those heartstrings still.
I blended there. We do have to make a headway on the movie block that we got going on, but this makes me want to go check out when Tyler first talked about the show, which I have recordings of. Thankfully, that's why this exists, and when Jared talked about it, because I'm curious to see what y'all brought up back then and what your initial thoughts were. Movie block. We watched some movies. We'll try to go through them relatively quickly.
Yep.
Who wants to lead us off? I think Godzilla vs. Kong is one that Tyler and Joe watched.
Yeah, Tyler.
Yeah.
What did you think of Godzilla vs. Kong?
So,
Godzilla X Kong.
Coming into this movie, not seeing anything beforehand.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was a little disappointed that there wasn't more human carnage.
Oh, that's not what these are really about.
No, that's not what this is about.
That's what Godzilla -1 and Shin Godzilla are about.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is action figure time.
Yeah. They had a pretty wise idea where they didn't have to write half of the movie. They straight up said, this movie is about Ungo and Bungo.
Yep.
So much that we're gonna include a race, or not a race, a culture of mute people, so we just don't have to write anything.
Correct.
And the character that can communicate with them says, they're speaking in my mind, and this is just how things are.
Wow, that seems exceptionally lazy.
Whatever, man. You know, that's not what you're there for.
At the same time, it's kind of peak. Like, if you're gonna cut corners, cut those fucking corners.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
I just want to say, of all the Godzilla movies that have come out, that's been like my Legendary Pictures, this is my least favorite one.
That would be 2014 King of the Monsters?
Yep.
Versus Kong?
Yep. And Kong.
Then this.
And Kong.
Oh, and Kong. So 5. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That being said, Kong does pick up a baby monkey and beats 2 motherfuckers with it.
He does. He does pick up a baby and beat the fuck out of other monkeys with it.
Kong is just a funny little guy.
He is just a guy.
Willard, straight up at one point, the movie turns to God of War 2018.
Oh, yeah, this movie is God of War.
Even Tyler would know, because that's the hours he played.
That's Boy.
No!
Boy is just shooting bow and arrows.
Okay, if Kong gets Boy, where's Godzilla Jr.?
That's...
Minura? I don't know, man. They have to make a solo Kong movie.
Mothra shows up, and I think I was sitting next to May, and May goes, Mothra's kind of hot.
Yeah, Mothra's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, it's so funny, because, Godzilla's... this movie is basically, Godzilla and Kong are like, oh, we have to prepare for the new raid that's coming out. And Kong is like, I'm going to do these dungeons and get the right equipment and get my best in slots. Meanwhile, Godzilla's like, I'm going to just fucking grind until I hit max level 3 times over and I'm going to just fucking kill the boss.
So stupid. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think I can skip this one. What I will say is that Tyler should watch -1, I think. I think you might like it.
Yes. You would like it. If you're looking for that chaos and destruction.
I think both of you would like it, actually. It's got a good emotional core.
Oh, yeah.
Very good emotional core.
Okay, but there is a moment. There is a moment in this show, in this movie. You know when Kong shows up in Egypt?
Yes.
How long between that moment and Godzilla, somewhere else?
In Gibraltar.
Yeah, to showing up in Egypt, do you think how long do you think that occurs?
Probably in universe an hour and a half, at most.
Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, you wanna guesstimate in movie universe? That's how long?
Yes. Yeah. Assuming.
Okay, what was the name of this movie again? Kong.
Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah. New Empire.
Joe Ramble, and I'm gonna tell you about this. We're gonna come back to this.
So the other thing about this movie is that the main villain of this movie has a Pokemon. He
That's not even that crazy. There's monsters in this world, so yeah, why not?
Yeah, but he has one and he controls it. He tells it to do ice breath and shit.
Sheep, right?
Wait, what?
What Monster Hunter dragon is that?
That's oh yeah, it looks like a Monster Hunter.
Is it Okana?
No, it's more. It doesn't have wings. It's got 4 legs. It's like
a blood dog was an ice dog or something.
Okay.
It's like a basically.
Otogoron ice variant. Sure.
Yeah. I saw that was very funny because it very much was like.
So back to Godzilla's travel speed.
Yeah, you can figure it out, Tyler.
I'm working on it. Okay. Hold on.
Let's see what else happened in this movie that I just found was ridiculous. Oh, they took government funds for like keeping King Kong, like tracking him, keeping him healthy, and just like monitoring his status. They used part of that fund to attempt to make him a giant mech suit that he would wear and walk around in. But they got their funding cut. Let's see what else happens in this movie. The first scene in this movie is Kong gets a dental crown put in.
Lovely. We can That reminds me that Godzilla versus Kong was very fun. Like, it's not the greatest movie, but there's some cool sequences in that, and I like how Godzilla has a equipable axe made of Kong has an equipable axe. All right.
Yeah, I'm here. So it's about 2.5 minutes in movie time.
Yes.
Between Kong showing up on the surface and Godzilla from the Strait of Gibraltar showing up in Cairo.
Correct.
That is a travel speed swimming of 52,180 miles per hour. Which
Yo, we got fucking death battle power scaling here. Which means he attacks at 5,000 quintillion power.
If it's 1.5 hours time, it's still 1,450 miles per hour.
Okay, but that makes a little bit more sense. Godzilla's pretty big. 1,400 miles per hour? That's not too ridiculous.
I don't know what size is, so yeah.
Yeah, at one point. I will say, Godzilla gets real cute because at one point he kills a monster in Rome. And he's like, I guess it's nap time, and he curls up in the Roman Colosseum.
They love doing that in these movies, making Godzilla either a punk or a little brat, and it's very funny. Okay, Tyler, how was Late Night with the Devil without too many spoilers? Because it seems pretty cool.
Yeah, this one looks pretty cool.
I have a good estimate now. For context, if Godzilla was to swim to the moon, it would take it 9 minutes.
Okay,
someone's gonna have to fact check your math.
Nope. I'm using calculator, speed, distance, time calculator.
All right.
That's how long it would take Godzilla to swim to the moon. About 10 minutes.
So he's fast. Okay.
Yeah.
Fast.
Now, how fast is the devil during nighttime?
The Devil, The Late Night with the Devil, great movie. Good, nice build-up movie. It is a build-up movie with some crazy shit happening. I enjoyed it. You know crazy shit's gonna happen. You're there for the build-up. I went and saw this as a double feature right after Godzilla. So seeing this in the theater at 11 p.m. at night is like great for the aesthetic of the show.
Ooh,
because it's like the late night show.
You're with them on the late night,
yeah. Mm-hmm. It was good. I would say this would make a very good movie roulette movie, where which is a thing we do with our friends. But I don't know if this would be a good watch by yourself movie. Unless you're just really into it. It's not very scary. It's a fun movie to experience.
Interesting. Okay.
But good. Really good. Interesting setting.
And Tyler's really picky about horror, so I'll take his good.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It wasn't anything too crazy. It was a good, fun little short movie. I think it's only like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's very short from what I hear. Okay,
cool. It doesn't go off the rails. It kind of gives you what you expect, and you enjoy it.
Cool. Okay. Let's talk about a movie that does go off the rails. We all watched Civil War.
Yes.
Bradley, why don't you go in first? What did you think of this movie?
I don't know what other people think. I thought it was kind of boring.
Ooh, interesting.
I mean, like, there's really good stuff in it, and it's most certainly not boring when shit is happening. Like, that entire final stretch was, like,
Insane.
I think, really well done.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get that into it.
Really?
That's interesting. Well,
That's interesting.
Do you think it's because you couldn't connect with the characters, maybe?
That might have been it. It's not like they didn't have interesting stuff going on. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It just wasn't very interesting.
Okay, that's really interesting to hear. Willard, what did you think?
To
We're
be
gonna go
fair-
in reverse order.
Yeah, we'll go in reverse watch order. To be fair, I don't like necessarily know if there's like a movie Bradley would generally watch, but yeah, that is interesting. I don't think it was boring. I thought it had pretty good pacing because I can like distinctly go in my mind and be like the little set pieces that we went through, like weird sniper duel against the dude in the house, or shooting that one fight between the militia and the U.S. Army or whatever.
The car wash scene.
The car wash scene, yeah, distinct, and then like the scene that stole the show, which is Jesse Plemons in anything, is just peak fiction. How is he so good at being intimidating?
Sorry to interrupt you. But interesting thing about him is, first of all, he's from Texas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Second of all, I only know this because I picked up a magazine while I was waiting in line at HEB that had an interview with him.
That's cool.
Oh.
I found out that he was on this movie by accident, like a Mike Ehrmantraut scenario where the dude didn't show up and he's married to Kirsten Dunst. So she's like, hey, my husband's here if you want him to do the role. And then he just showed up and stole it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's the bigger plot twist there is that he's married to Kristen Dunst. I'm going to be real honest with you.
I knew that and I forgot about that, but yeah, they are. I will say, have y'all, Joe, you've seen Game Night, and I think Tyler, you said you saw Game Night too, right?
I've seen bits, not sat down and watched the whole thing through.
You should. That is a Tyler movie. I adore him in Game Night, Joe. How can that be profitable for Frito-Lay?
I was just about to say.
Incredible role. He's so good at what he does. And then the finale is very crazy. So what did I think about it overall? I'd give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay.
I think it's got cool world building. Do y'all know the biggest criticism that the internet has with this movie? And maybe maybe this is what Bradley had.
I haven't seen much of the discourse.
It's either, let me guess, it's either we don't know why there's a civil war happening, or Texas and California should not be on the same side because they never would do that together.
I love that they did that.
Yes. It's a little bit of both. The main criticism is that it doesn't explain why it happened. And because of that, its politics are loose. And I'm like, I get that, but that's not what the movies... So they're like, the messaging's unclear, but like...
No.
Clearly, that's not what the movie's going for.
No, because that's the thing, like...
About something.
Like, if you explained anything about either of the sides in this movie and why they're fighting and what they stand for, this is going to become a political-ass movie, and no one's going to care about the message. They're just going to be arguing about it over Twitter. So that's what's cool, is like, this movie's not... so much about that war. It's more about like what does it look like on the ground to the people in a country when the war's going on.
Exactly. And the thing about that is like the movie would just become a tool of hatred at that point. And it's totally fine to make a movie about your political view, but this isn't that. So people came in wanting to confirmation bias, like to have the movie tell them that their opinions are all right. And I think we're all like, we're fine with our opinions. We just want to see what the movie actually is about. To me is that what the war does to people, and it brings out all sides of bad things. And like, if you want a movie that's like anti-Republican or fascist, there's a lot of that in there. But then it also has like the Western Front just committing war crimes, and you just get to see how like it brings out the worst in everyone. And how journalism dies in a scenario where they become desensitized to what they're doing, so all they care about is competing. And that is like one of my like. That's an interesting thing, and it is portrayed well, but it did distance me from the characters, which is why I asked Bradley that. Like, particularly in the third act, very cool action sequence, but I think the characters just nosedived in that third act.
Ooh, I don't think so.
That's fair. I could see that. Like, I will say the best character is obviously Kirsten Dunst's character. She's very well acted, I will say. But I think, like, her death just getting brushed off by everyone. Jesse caused both of the deaths in this movie, so good job, girl. You're doing great in the world. And then, like, neither her nor, like, Pedro Pascal looking dude reacted to her death. They just move on. Pedro Pascal's guy, like, was hard to connect with because there wasn't much to him aside just being an adrenaline junkie, I felt like, and hitting on a 22-year-old. So it's like, I don't know, like, I wanted to, because he's very fun. He's like, it's a fun personality, but he's not very, like, he's nowhere near, I think, the elder gentleman that was with him and Kirsten Dunst's character, where I thought were more interesting.
Interesting.
So that'll be my take. So we'll go to whoever watched it next.
Tyler.
I find it very interesting that, like, I don't know, this movie had a lot of symbolism and shit in it with the way that their characters. I feel like I really connected with these characters.
Interesting. That's so interesting.
I did too. I felt very.
It all made sense to me. Like, first of all, like, the movie is about war with the absence of politics in it, which is, first of all, good feat. The people who are mad online are the people who either are too young to understand our political history that we've been going through for the last 8 years, or and like what life was like before that, which totally understandable.
And a
like,
plus,
it's not anybody's fault. They just didn't live it.
A plus to this is also, like you're saying, you can gather a lot of the world building through how people talk and through the environment. I think that's like a big plus of this movie. I'm like, you can get why the Civil War started. A president became a fascist who ran 3 terms, canceled the FBI, and then broke the Constitution so much that both California and Texas said, "Yeah, no, fuck that."
And
so, like, you can
also split off as well.
I think what, like, led to the start of war is, it's inferred, is after he did all that, like, those states seceded. And then immediately after that, he started doing airstrikes on the states.
And there was their airstrikes in the Antifa massacre, which is how our main character got her start. So it's cool piecing that together. And like, so I don't know. I don't really need to. It's a cool way to, like, there is a reason it exists. We're not going to weaponize it as a politics tool, and I can live with that. I think that's fine. But that's cool that y'all could connect with the characters that way. It was a little tougher for me near the end.
So, like, the death part.
I'm glad we all watched this because I do want to talk about that last scene, because I think that last scene is stellar.
So I want to talk about this too. So it's actually prior to the last scene, and it's actually a concept of the entire movie. And they pointed out early on, whenever Kirsten and Dunst,
I think her character's Lee.
Jesse, and what's the young girl's name?
Jesse's the girl, and Lee is Kirsten.
Lee comments about Jesse's camera, and Lee is like, yeah, I know it's older camera. It was my dad's. And it is. It's an older style camera where you have to develop the film yourself. And this is another theme that we carry on as, like, what she takes the photos of are, like, not everything's a keeper. But when you develop your own film, those aren't, like, you have to look at those. Those are things you see, you know? And when the elder gentleman dies, Jesse takes a photo of him. Like all photographers will. They're all battle scarred. They're all miserable. They understand death more than, like, most people do, other than the soldiers who are causing it, because they sit there and witness it. That's, like, their role.
Yeah.
But she deletes the photo and she's like, "This is my respect to him."
I missed that somehow.
Yeah. So she deletes the photo of the guy who dies because she's got a new digital camera and she's reviewing it. But when Jesse takes the photo of Lee, she cannot delete it. She has to develop that film. It has to be developed. She has to look at it. And this is like the passing of the torch. And you can even see in that final encounter, like, Lee is freaking out. She is shaken by her friend's death, and she's just done. She's just fucking done.
Yeah, it got to her.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about death recently since I last watched Train to Busan.
Hey man, same.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Like, there's a moment in that movie where the homeless man who makes it nearly to the end of the movie.
Oh, don't spoil Train to Busan. I haven't seen it yet.
Wait.
I know. Y'all do this every time. I'm sorry.
Anyway, there's part in that movie that made me just kind of really think about, like, nobody chooses where they die.
Yeah.
You might as well die for something you actually care about. So, like, that moment, I think, means a lot to both Lee and her death and, like, Jesse as a character's development. And, like, that's, like, a core memory now.
Yeah. And don't forget, like, at the beginning of the movie, they're walking, they're looking at the helicopter, and Jesse turns to Lee and goes, if I got shot, would you take a picture of me?
Yep.
And he goes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the Chekhov's picture, for sure.
Yeah.
The death scene was so stupid, though. I gotta say,
The scene itself, very fucking stupid.
They could have blocked that out a little better, like movement wise.
I wish he had gotten shot in the head because we don't see, like, I'm like, bitch, don't you have a bulletproof vest on?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that for?
I believe she was alive but knocked out, and I don't know. I'll have to see what the director says.
The blocking was absolute ass. I agree.
Yeah.
Make it graphic, shoot her in the head, make it.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah.
What would have been better would have been like something happens to Jesse's like vest, and so Lee gives her vest, you know, as like
The
first
death
protection.
itself was very bad.
Yeah. But I'd like the imagery of like, or like the irony of it.
I like the symbolism of the cameras. I don't know if that's a real thing, but that's what I saw it as.
100%. That's a good analysis there, Tyler. I didn't think about the permanency and having to look at those pictures.
Yeah.
That's a really good catch.
I wish we got that interview with the president.
Oh,
but I know what you're gonna say. It fits the theme so well of when the older gentleman was like, "It's not gonna be worth it when you get there." It's not gonna be impressive.
No, he goes, "Can I get a quote?"
Yes,
it's the quote.
Yeah,
but the quote was meaningless. It was just a little. He didn't care.
It's not completely meaningless. The quote is, "Please don't kill me." It's like,
please don't let them kill me.
Yeah. That is on par with you lacked worthy opponents.
Whoa, slow down, buddy.
Well, because like think about that. Like the journalist guy could have at least stepped in and say like, "Let me get me one interview with him," and really stopped it. But he doesn't. He just lets it happen.
He's just trying to get the point. He doesn't care what he says, and like that's why.
No. So there's a point in the movie. I hate the part with Jesse Plemons in it. I fucking hate that part because the Texan in me literally is yelling at the screen, "Pick up the fucking gun. You are going to die if you do not defend yourself."
Who could pick up the gun?
When they're running away after getting shot at? After the van slams into the two soldiers?
Oh, yeah. It didn't amount to anything, but yeah.
No, but a gun gets flies up in the air. They could have picked it up on their way to the vehicle. And I'm like, pick up the fucking gun.
Send President Valentine.
But it's like a code that doctors take. Like, they can't kill anybody, you know?
Yeah, the Hippocratic Oath.
Journalists do not pick up guns. That's like that's the rule.
Well, so when you pick up a gun, you become a soldier. That's the thing.
Yeah. So whenever the guy at the end says "that'll do," that's like him getting to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's cool elements to it for sure.
I really liked that final scene. And then did you watch the credit shot?
No.
I stayed so long, but I didn't. I was like,
you didn't watch the film develop in the credits?
Yes, I did. Yeah. Them standing in the photo.
Yeah. You didn't watch the film develop, Willer?
No, it was 12:30 and that movie.
Okay.
That's why I posted that GIF. That movie was bleak as shit, and I wanted to go home.
Yeah. They developed the photo that Jesse takes, and it looks like a hunting photo, like these people went on a hunting trip. It is a bleak movie. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I personally really like the movie. I don't think it's like the greatest movie in the world.
I
but,
gave
like,
it a 4. You guys were like, it's a bullet train scenario. It's like, no, it's not.
And here's the thing, like, my objective rating of the movie is way higher than my personal rating, because, like, I got what they were going for. I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I think my problem is, I was just one of those people who wanted to see a fucking war. That's how it is.
You're so monkey-brained. I mean, you got it at the end. That's
the thing. Like, the last 20 minutes, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Well, I think that's the other thing, too, Bradley.
But, like...
Yeah, but, like, the thing is, like, your concept of what a war is not what war actually is.
Yeah,
and
Bradley,
I think that's
another...
That's the thing. It's not just D-Day. It's also what happens back home.
I'm just trying to, like,
point out that... Seeing the signs of fall of society were more interesting than the combat. And the combat was great, but the fall, like how society fell in different little corners. You got a dude in a house in a perpetual sniper fight with an enemy they don't care about. You got like
those guys being such sarcastic shits. The sniper and the spotter.
Yeah,
I fucking love them.
What are y'all doing? We're fighting. Or something like that.
They're like, you don't know who you're fighting against, and they're like, yeah, and like that's kind of like a point of the movie. It's like the war has devolved into just like brother fighting brother, survival.
It just becomes senseless violence. Like people are just fighting over things. Like there's a point where like they are fighting. They're at like a school or something, and they're just shooting and fighting. It's like two squads just fighting each other. Like it's an FPS map. It doesn't make sense what they're doing there at all.
They're just having a fight.
Yeah,
it's
crazy. Just and the guys in like Hawaiian shirts and flip flops and like a bulletproof vest when they do it.
Dude, y'all seen that meme of like the soldiers and there's a clown holding a gun and like the point of the meme was like who invited this guy? That's how I felt when they would like walk up the stairs and then you would see the reporters behind them. The clowns with the guns.
I really like the movie, especially as my father, who is a journalist and just kind of like, or was a journalist, I say. Like he wasn't in war or anything, but just understanding like he would have to go out to some of these incidents and like have to talk to these people, and like he at one point he did like a bit for like a true crime show where he did a newspaper report and then had an interview with those people and like had to turn the report in for them, kind of a thing. So it was just interesting to like, because I've heard so much things about like how it works there in journalism, so just being able to like see it on film or as the focus point of the movie was very cool and also very different from what I was expecting. But I just really liked it. We kind of went over a lot of what I wanted to say, but I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very well done. The one I do want to say though, that like that Washington DC fight, like fun fact about Washington DC is that you can't build anything higher than like the Washington Monument, and there were definitely buildings shown there that were higher than that.
Yeah.
So it was all filmed in Atlanta. Oh, also like another thing about the war, like you talk about the breakdown society war, but then also there you have the pockets of like the war never hit us, and we just continue on with our lives.
We just stay out of it.
Yeah, and like they talk about how like their parents like don't partake in it, right? Mm-hmm. Like they act like it doesn't happen, and then yet the journalists are also there acting like nothing's happening or like they're not part of it, that they're just observing it, right? Like it's an interesting kind of dichotomy there. I think the movie's good. I think we all enjoyed it on some level. Bradley probably less so.
But like it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
He just wanted big shoot.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's fair.
That's good. We gotta get.
I think I'm just a victim of expectations.
That is very valid.
But that's not the important part of this whole conversation. The important thing is I saw this movie with my mother. So
what'd she think of it, Joe?
That's the next question, Tyler. Do y'all think my mother thought this movie was weird or not?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm predicting a no for like I'll just play the odds.
Okay. Bradley, any thoughts?
I'm gonna go for yes.
Okay. My mother didn't think it was weird, but she was incredibly shaken afterwards.
Yeah.
We also sat down and we started watching the movie, and they were showing like previews, and we get to like the start of the movie, and she looks over to me. She's like, "This isn't about the American Civil War."
No, mother.
Oh
no.
Boy.
But at the same time, yes, mother, yes.
Yeah, but like she still enjoyed it, but
nice.
like she does not do good with like violence like that. Like the Jesse Plemons scene really got to her.
That scene, Jesus Christ, Hong Kong, China, bang. God damn.
What kind of American are you? Oh, it's just,
that is such a layered line, huh?
Yeah.
I would say Texan, and I would say no more. I mean, they were dead anyways. The fact that they got it out of that, like they didn't hear a car driving behind them, whatever. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Good scene. Yeah. I want to close off the movie block. I'll try to go as fast as possible. I watched Challengers. Do y'all know about this movie at all? This was my double feature with Civil War.
Is that the one with Zendaya?
It is the one with Zendaya.
Oh. Zendaya in the threesome.
Yeah. This is a movie that doesn't interest me at all because it's about young situationships.
Nope. So the public perception of this movie is so fucking skewed, and that is why I was excited to talk about it. I mean,
that's what I was marketed.
That is what you were marketed. Everyone just talks about the sex scene, the threesome scene.
No, I said situationship.
This is a movie about 30-year-olds. Yeah. So, first of all, it's not that. They're adults. Tyler, ironically, this might be out of everyone here, this might be the movie most for you because you know what this is? This is a sports seinen. It is It is directly influenced by sports shonen. It's sports shonen anime, and it's taken to a degree that's more mature, which makes it the extremely rare sports seinen story. This is a story about a rivalry between two tennis players and a woman between them, who is Zendaya. And so it's a tennis story. And the story takes place in a match that they're having in the modern day. Oh. And it keeps flipping back and forth through different points in the past that build up the relationship and the stakes that have led up to the match in the current day. And that is the framing device of the entire movie. This movie is fucking incredible. Easy 5 stars for me. Wow. The character dynamics between the three characters gets exceptionally more layered every 20 minutes of the movie. It adds just multiple layers to every angle of that triangle. And it is a love triangle with very defined 3 points, and they are all explored, which is what makes it a sports shonen, because this movie is gay as fuck. If you're bisexual, this movie is probably your heaven, because I've never, because I've seen Zendaya in fucking Spider-Man and Zendaya in Euphoria, where she's a gross, she's obviously very pretty, but she's grandmified in both of them. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ, she is shatteringly hot in this movie, and I was like, they just needed to put her in a role that takes advantage of how sexy she is. Because you see that in pictures and stuff.
Hot.
But in movies, I don't watch a movie. I'm like, God damn, Zendaya's hot. But this one is distractingly hot. And then 2 sweaty, attractive men that shows a lot of biceps and forearms and everything that girls read sports shonen for, it's in this movie. And yeah, it's the most fascinating 3-way relationship, and it's not just the sexual tension, which this movie is. You can cut that shit with a knife at any given point, because tennis is a metaphor for a relationship in this movie, and they really delve into that topic a lot. But it's not just that, it is their personal dynamics as just human beings and how they bounce off of each other as competitors. Basically, the 2 guys were duo partners in high school, and they won their duo tournament. They were called Fire and Ice, and that day they saw Zendaya play for the first time, and they were just blown away. She's on another level. She is so talented. They go to her party. They meet her. They both fall in love with her immediately, and that leads to the threesome scene it's pretty early on in the trailers, and. That is just the tip of the iceberg, because you also get to see how that relationship develops in college and how that relationship develops as adults, and stuff as much of 2 weeks earlier to the game, up to the night earlier before the game. Just new developments that add more and more layers to this match, And the actual tennis itself is so fucking hype. It is so anime. The music is insane. Trent Reznor did the sound for this, and it's interesting when they use the movie. I've heard that this is like a criticism where like a conversation will be going through and like the music will ratchet up, and it's really, you have to think of like why it is. And my read is like the music picks up whenever the conversation, the thing that's on the people's minds is tennis itself, and like they're hiding it through their conversation, but what they're actually talking about is tennis or relationships. So I don't know, like, incredibly fascinating movie. I just became more and more engrossed. I really think all of y'all should watch it just because the character work is out of this world, but also like it's got sports shonen stuff Tyler likes, cool rivalries, really good non-linear narrative structure that I think is very interesting. So I can't recommend this enough. I found out later it's by the dude who made Call Me by Your Name. So this dude,
okay,
and he made a movie called Bones and All, which I've been trying to watch as well. So like, very promising career, but this is easily better than Call Me by Your Name in my opinion. I think this is like a must watch, and I think multiple people on our Discord should also watch it. I think it's super good. Highly recommend it. It's in theaters right now, so keep that in mind. So yeah, that was my double feature. I did the reverse Barbenheimer, where I did I did Challengers first, and I definitely should have done that second, because it is the heavier movie. But I would say it's easily the better of the two.
Heavier movie? Do you mean lighter movie?
So Challengers is the lighter movie, but I did that first, and when I did Barbenheimer,
okay.
I did the heavier movie first. So
okay, yeah.
All right, cool. We got to speed run these last three topics so we don't go even later.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Arkham Horror.
Yes. Okay. So, Arkham Horror: The Feast of Hemlock Vale came out 2 months ago, and I finally got to play it. I'm in the middle of a second run through right now with some other friends. This is a big kind of milestone in the Arkham Horror card game because it is the 10th expansion for the entire game, which is just in itself kind of like big, like 10 expansions and all. But also, this is the first expansion without the original head designer of the game involved at all. They just stepped away this last year to go work on another game that I now also owned. This new expansion is completely devoid of them, and is with the new designing team. Incredible, the new design team. This expansion is fucking incredible. It made me feel like I was playing Arkham Horror for the first time again. Like it felt so fresh and so riveting to play. The story was very interesting to follow and very interactive as well. I oftentimes described Arkham Horror as like a choose your own adventure novel with some card game elements, or a lot of card game elements. This one really feels like that. Like there are multiple times where like you have to like get to a location, do a thing, and then you turn to a page and you have to read a small paragraph that describes what happens, and you get a reward for it. The theming of this whole campaign box is a mix of H.P. Lovecraft's The Color Out of Space, Midsommar, and Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask.
Ooh, that's a peak combo. That sounds pretty cool.
It was phenomenal. And they've kind of realized that they don't need to do like 8 scenarios all in one go for your campaign, and cut it down to a nice crisp 6. And they're all like very finely tuned, and they feel very connected to each other in a really good way, and still offering you a lot of freedom of like what you can choose. I should rephrase that. You get to do 6 scenarios in the campaign, but there's 8 you can choose from. You just get a choice for which ones you want to do. But like I said, the Midsommar part comes from the fact that like you go to this festival on this island where they're like, these people are like, oh, we're having this great like summer festival for the solstice. We're having a bunch of food. We're putting flowers out. It's going to be a great time. Sniff some drugs. Watch out for the weird deer in the forest. Shit like that. And the Majora's Mask part is that like the game takes place over 3 days, and depending on which scenario you do on what days changes what things happen. So like on day 1, the scenario might have X enemies in the deck. On day 2, it'll have Y enemies in the deck, and on day 3, it'll have X and Y enemies, or even Z enemies, depending on the scenario.
Yeah. The Z Warriors.
Yes. There's also, and it was just incredible. Like we felt like really playing the game again anew. It also came with the new expansion cards for the game that are for the players, and they have a mask theme. So like you wear a mask, and they give you different stat boosts to certain abilities, which are really cool. Not to go into investigator cards too much, but like they're all the investigator cards in this game in this expansion were awesome. They're just so unique and so very fun to play with and tinker around with. And the new investigators, I played Hank Sampson, who is like the farm boy kind of guy who's really good at punching. And his whole gimmick is that when he dies, he gets a cane choice where he can be like blue cane or red cane. And then you continue on the scenario from there, but you can no longer heal damage or like mental damage. So like you're on a ticking clock as you take more and more damage. And the person I played with, she played Kate Winslet, which is the scientist, and so she was juggling like a bunch of like scientific tools and like moving clues around to like buffer stats. It was a lot of fun. The final scenario of this game, like one of the big things about H.P. Lovecraft is like the idea of like conceptually unknown and like just kind of like being unable to process what's happening and kind of just like the fear of like what to do next. And I think the final scenario of this campaign really sells that. Like it asks you to do stuff to your deck and to the cards in your collection that would be like taboo, essentially.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was very, very like it was at like 11 o'clock at night, or no, sorry, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and we were packing up the penultimate scenario, and we're talking about it, and we looked, and it's like, you know what? Let's just do the last scenario tonight, and we can knock it out. This way we can sleep in tomorrow, and if we want to play like an additional like standalone scenario, or I can drive home, whatever. I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. As we were setting up the scenario, like our excitement for the scenario got more and more and more. Like we got a whole new energy to us as we were like just setting up the game. And like when one of the game effects literally says you can't look at the boss enemy for more than 15 seconds in real life or you are instantly killed, things get kind of nutty. So it was just an overall terrific experience. It was incredibly fun. The only negative I give to it is that it's incredibly different than other Arkham horror campaigns, so it's not a really good one to start on. So you really have to kind of build up and understand it. But otherwise, like for someone that has played all of the expansions like multiple times, this really like kind of reinvigorated my love for the game. I was like, oh, okay, our new team knows that we're bringing in new stuff and we're going to try things really differently. And I'm so excited for their next expansion, which they've already hinted at to be like gangster crime theme, which I'm excited to see because it's always been hinted at Arkham Horror, and that leads to like some really cool potential things of like these are just some schmucks trading away like eldritch horror stuff that they don't know about, and that's just going to lead to some bad times, man.
That's pretty neat. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed the campaign. I don't know if I'll ever play it with y'all, but it's definitely like a campaign where like I got home and I was telling my other friends I play Arkham with, it's like we have to play this in person because there's no way we're going to do this online. Like I need to see y'all's reactions when we set up this final scenario because it's going to blow your mind. It's also going to make them incredibly upset. But it was a very well worth $95 purchase for this thing. I was incredibly happy with it. But yeah, I just had a great time, and it just made me very, very happy that the new design team they know what they're doing, and I'm excited to see what they have for the future.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
We'll switch this up a little bit. I'll just quickly talk about the book Shogun, which I've been reading. Now, Shogun has a TV series. I don't know if you guys have caught wind of it.
That's what I thought this was going to be.
Yeah. So, because I bought the book like a while ago. I've been trying to do the book for so long that I've committed. I'm going to read the book all the way through before I watch the show. Some friends were in town and I watched the first episode with them. And, like, it's weird because now I get to be the book snob. And I'm like, I don't like how they changed that. But, like, people really love the show. Um, but like there's like some scenes that they cut. I thought it was a very good episode adaptation. But like the book is just a lot more interesting with how it dives into the logic of the characters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a story about I think it's like early 1800s. A pirate ship washes up on Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't go very well for them. Apparently, Japanese people are terrible people. Like, it's kind of crazy because I heard this book is popular in Japan. I was like, God damn, but they're so like, they are not treating you guys nicely. So I think that must come later in the book. And it's already happening a little bit where like the
I don't know, man. We like Civil War. We're Americans. They made Americans look real bad in that movie.
Well, but that was just reality, man. I don't know. So it's just crazy because like these samurai will just kill people on the street. They have the right to.
Mm-hmm.
They will like kill themselves over nothing. Over nothing. They love suicide, bro. They're so into it, which just makes me think of like stuff like Godzilla -1 and even parts of the Wano arc where like modern Japanese creators are like, hey, what the fuck were we on?
Okay, so cool. I just looked this up. Shogun takes place at the end of the Sengoku Jidai period, which is one of my favorite historical like periods of time.
It's very interesting.
Yeah,
it's basically like who's called the Taiko has died. So there's 5 warring daimyos trying to take the spot, but they can't. Like they have to politics around it because what matters most to a Japanese samurai is the honor aspect. So they cannot break that no matter what. So they have to be sneaky in how they break that because being dishonored is worse than death. So they will commit suicide, which they love. So it's very interesting, and like the samurai are all very interesting. Like there's some real bastards, but I'm seeing like the layers unfolding and showing the humanity a bit more. And it does seem like a bit of a white savior story, which people don't like. I think that's one of the critiques. But also like the way that they're manipulating the captain that washed up is also like they're using him as a tool and they're dehumanizing him. So it's like it's not just he shows up and like shows them the ways of the world. It's like through thick and thin, I think these two groups will get through each other through a lot of friction, and that friction is starting to show. And all the characters are just really good. It's got a good tension where like stuff is rising. The way that they maneuver Blackthorn, who's the main character, into positions is very interesting, and like the way that the daimyos maneuver around each other are very interesting. So because I'm liking the book so much, and the first episode of the show was so good, I do think like I recommend the show to all of y'all. I think Tyler would really like the show. I think Joe and Bradley might prefer the book, but it's a tough ask because it's a big book. But I'm still like 20. Hold on, this is gonna be a hilarious sentence. I think I'm only 20 hours into the book. Let me.
Okay, out of
I think 50 something. So I have 25 hours left at my 1.5 speed, and I'm at chapter 22. So it is a 50-hour book. So keep that.
Is
in mind.
Hideyoshi the Taiko or the former Taiko?
Yes. No. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. Then I know what.
Wait. Okay. So they're all real people. I wasn't sure if they were like playing around. That's interesting.
So this
Torinaga is the daimyo closest related to Blackthorn. He's the one that's like captured him, and like they're becoming, I hope, slow friends. If you know that.
I'll have to double check who Torinaga is, but the big thing is that this is after Oda Nobunaga has died.
Nobunaga and his ambition.
Yes, and so like he gets betrayed. I forget what the guy's name is that betrays him, but Hideyoshi kills that guy and becomes the ruler. And then, I know who becomes the Taiko after that. At that point.
Well, don't spoil it.
I'm not gonna spoil
don't
it. Don't
historically spoil me, bro. That's like Vinland Saga spoilers.
Yeah, no, but like I was just thinking, like I just wanted to know like when it took place, whether it took place.
Joe, read this shit. Get on it.
What am I reading?
You'll love it. Shogun.
Yeah. No, like I this is one of my favorite like time periods in like the world. It's such an interesting like political dynamic of what's happening in this time during Japan. You just have like because like before this, the kind of like the main character of this like not Blackthorn but of like this period, he's like a political hostage.
Yes.
In this entire affair.
That is Blackthorn's role in this book.
Yeah, it's incredibly interesting, like how he like goes up in the world. It's because of Oda Nobunaga and Hideyoshi and everyone in that group. I definitely want to pick up the book now that I know it's taking place that period, because I really like that period of history. It's also like one of the best Total War games takes place during that as well. So that's another big win there. But yeah, it's definitely, now that I know, I thought it was just like another time period of history of like before or after, but that's like in the sweet spot of like, yes.
Cool. Okay, two things to close it out then. I definitely think Tyler and Bradley could at least check out this show. It's 10 episodes.
Okay.
However, if you do, don't spoil me, because like I was like 9 chapters in, and episode 1, because of its rearranging, still spoiled me on stuff. So I was like, no, I can't, like, sorry guys, I can't watch this at all. I have to wait till I finish. So yeah, I'm waiting for that. And second, last thing to leave out, this book loves cocks. Like, every chapter has some notable scene involving penises. And the big white man's big penis, but also dudes pissing on the big white man with their penises and just talking about penises, and they love it. It's what they're all about in this book. It's very funny when you notice it.
Well, do you have, like, is it Shogun Part 1, or is it Shogun Part 1 and 2, or one book, essentially?
I have something called Shogun. James Cavill's Shogun. That's it.
Okay, because I'm on Audible, and it has Part 1 and Part 2. It's
I'm on Audible, too. Shogun Unabridged is what I have.
Okay.
It's one story. It's all 100 whatever chapters.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I'll try to figure out, like, what to get. They might have split up in order to get more credits out of me.
They sure did. I used 1 credit, so don't let them get you.
Mm-hmm. Well,
okay.
Because
and very quickly, Joe, you randomly, and this was a joy for me to see, played Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. This is the 3rd Ace Attorney game, and one of the greatest games ever made, in my opinion. Joe, what did you think? Because you apparently forgot everything, which is very funny.
So, I didn't really, like, do it randomly. I had to listen to something on the side for work, just to, like, get through the day, and I found a 12-hour video kind of essay of just, like, going through the Phoenix Wright games and the cases and stuff like that. And I listened to the first 2/3 of that, and we got to the 3rd game, and they started talking about the first case / level in the game, and I went, I don't remember any of this fucking shit. What the hell? And I went, oh, I guess I could just play Trial and Tribulations now and have a great time.
Yeah. Shit's always on sale.
I had got it for free. It was part of my PlayStation Plus program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I downloaded it, I played it. I'm going to go, and I realized, Willer, that I actually never beat Trial and Tribulations the first time around.
You love doing that. You love doing that.
I got to the scene where Phoenix is looking up the old case file, and it has the same UI as, like, the final case of Apollo Justice with the whole jury
Mason system. Yeah.
And I did not like that case at all. I went, oh no, and I turned off the game.
You played Apollo Justice before 3?
I did.
So Joe played 4 and then 3, so he's a JoJo part skipper. To be fair, I started with Apollo Justice 2, but I stopped 2 cases in and went back.
I played Apollo Justice 1, and then I was looking for a game for my DS, and the GameStop had Apollo Justice in it. I didn't realize how much of a time skip that would be. Okay, I really didn't.
That's fair. That's fair.
But to go through this very quickly, but yeah, I just was like, oh, I didn't know anything about the last case, which was just a pleasant surprise.
Perfect.
To run through it though, case. This is really just going to be about me and Willer just echoing to each other at this point. So case 1, a very, very good first case, I think.
You play strong. As Phoenix Wright's mentor from the first game, as in her second trial ever.
Yeah, second trial ever. I love seeing Phoenix as he was when he was a college-age student. I think
that P on his shirt sure doesn't stand for Phoenix. It stands for pussy.
It does. I've really enjoyed seeing Mia, and her younger form, because you can really see the growth she went through by the time she becomes a full-fledged lawyer.
It helps a lot where she's just not showing up being like, I know the answer, Phoenix, do you?
Correct. Yes. I really like that case. It was a really good, strong opener. And it changed the tone and the themes for the rest of the game, which I think is the biggest win in my book, is that every case in this game feels thematically appropriate for the final case.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For a final game of a trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, final game of the trilogy, but also like they're thematic like strings that go to the final. I don't feel that nearly as much in like Justice for All or in like the original game.
Ooh, hold on, you're roboting pretty bad. Hold on, let's.
Oh. Hold on, let me just. Okay, can you
so
hear me
you're
now?
saying thematically, all the like it's all cohesively together, yeah.
Yes, it feels like it just all makes sense cohesively. But case one very strong. Case two, I remember that case the most of everything. I remember it being
such a
like
good one.
It's very mid on it. Second time around, I really liked it a lot.
I think that case is incredible. Look at me, iconic villain.
I think Desiree. Desiree's Desiree.
She's fun.
Yeah. I think the Ron the Light is also a great
Ron's
witness.
Hilarious.
He's so good. But that was a good case. I think in general, it also just turns on its head.
Yeah.
Of like what you expect from a Phoenix Wright case.
Good utilization of a certain law that exists in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was really impressive as well. I'm trying to think what else is about that case. I mean, Larry's the only negative in that case. He's kind of like the biggest negative of the entire game, basically.
Larry's the biggest negative of Ace Attorney.
True.
That's just, yeah.
This is a character named Larry Butts, by the way, in the game.
Like, even Bradley would know Larry because he played the first case.
I was about to say, as soon as you said that name, I was like, that's familiar.
He's a bastard. He shows up from time to time, and he never grows up.
But like, yeah, that case is great. I love the use. I love bringing back Adrian Andrews as like a witness or like another side character. So like, just overall, like, great second case, and feels like a good ramp up as well, and feels like we're getting back to speed and we're not slowing down.
So case three.
Case three, Recipe for Turnabout. Always like the weakest. Recipe wasn't nearly as bad. Obviously, way better than Big Top Turnabout. But I kind of like the idea of this conspiracy being constructed for the case.
It's pretty fucking crazy, but it works.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, it's like okay, I can live with it. But it also does a really good job thematically setting up the last case where it's the inverse essentially, and the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that in retrospect. But Tigre Fuego, I think that's what his name was.
Tigre Furio.
Yeah, that's just. That guy's an actual cartoon character, even for Ace Attorney standards. Like,
oh my god! Post a picture of that guy. He's so fucking funny.
It's just. I'm just like, I cannot believe you actually allowed this guy to be in the Tigre Furioso. Hold on. No, that's not it.
This motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, his tongue's always out. He's a gangster.
So fun fact.
Red Phoenix, right?
Yeah, fun fact I learned about when I was listening to that. Because after I beat the game, I went back and listened to the rest of that video. Apparently, so like Eric Vale voices Phoenix Wright in the anime, but Sam Riegel voices him in the game. So they brought Sam Riegel to play Tiger in the anime, which I thought was a fun kind of like mix up there. Yeah. But anyways, that case is a bit convoluted. But
I don't like Armstrong in that case.
Yeah, so, Armstrong is
interestingly handled character.
Yeah. I just it's very weird and awkward. Especially nowadays.
Kudo got the old man perv, but like Maya is like too sweet of a bean, so it comes off like really weird. Anyways,
I do like that Mia stepped in and it's like, I know what I need to do, and like kind of like
boobies.
Yeah. But fine case. I'm glad that we brought Maggie Bird back, and I'm glad we get like that gumshoe dynamic with Maggie as well.
Eat my weenies.
Yeah. but that also goes back to like, Phoenix and Dahlia in the first case, which I thought was interesting to think about, and like how it's the inverse of that, where like the person on trial is trying to push away the witness or her essentially, where it's the opposite in the first case essentially.
Okay, 3-4. What do you got?
Yeah, 3-4. This is the other flashback case, which is Mia's first trial. I love this case this case is so good on like every I think level.
Did you know who Diego Armando? There's like a small chance you didn't realize, but I just need to ask.
I realized as soon as you walked up.
Okay. That's fine. Some people might miss it.
He did the head tilt. I'm like, I've seen that sprite before. Yeah. I thought it was very good. I thought I really, really developed Dahlia very well. And just kind of really set up how like a manipulator she is. The fact that it's like a single day trial case also, and it had enough like story depth or arcs to it or meat to it. Yeah, was really, really good too. I'm glad that they didn't feel constrained to that like 4 case like what's it called, stereotype or structure that they had previously. And I just really liked it. I also like the ending to the case as well. That's a good like kind of like way
dramatic.
To like, very dramatic. It's a good way to like keep continuity of like this person's never lost a case and this person's never lost a case, but we want them to face each other. So let's do it.
I forgot about this person being the opponent. That was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, jump to Peak Fiction, Joe. 3-5. Oh my god.
Wow.
Wrap it up with just insanity.
It really does feel like the end of the series, like 3-5 does. You bring back every character, and every character that you've ever gone against is now also working to help you, which felt really, really good. Both in like a character dynamic way, like Franziska's
like, the best she's ever been in that case.
Yeah,
like she's incredible.
And she's like off screen for like the last third of it, and you still feel like you're rooting for her the entire time because you know what she's doing in the off screen section there with the locks.
Yeah.
It's really good. The only complaint I have
is it Larry?
It's not Larry actually. Well, that's the second complaint I have. Is I've always liked how they've kind of kept the laws in the real world, right? Like a ghost was never involved in the crime. That's my one kind of itch to it.
Okay, but in Phoenix Wright 1-4 has the history of ghosts being involved in crimes, right? And then 2-2 is also a crime.
That's true.
But here it's like really part of it. To me it works because it's an established thing that exists in the world and it doesn't come up often at all.
True. It'd be weird if like every game had like a ghost villain.
No,
right?
It happens twice. It happens in this game. It happens in Spirit of Justice in a case that you played but probably forgot.
No, the
6-3.
The one where you're defending Maya, right?
Yeah.
I remember that case vividly.
It's used sparingly and it's used very cleverly, in my opinion.
Yeah, but that being said, like I kind of forgive it because I really like the dynamic of like Dahlia and her hatred and versus like Mia and her determination.
Oh, it's
like,
so good.
It's very, very good.
Basically, guys, this case sort of ends with you exercising a spirit in the courtroom, and it's like such an incredible scene.
Mm-hmm. And then, like, another thing is that, like, the final witness you have to, like, cross-examine is Maya, who has never gotten the witness stand up until that point, which was kind of crazy that was pointed out to me in that video that I never thought about.
Did you like the twist with that villain?
Yeah, I did.
Did it catch you off guard?
A little bit, yeah, it did. It just was like it's when you get to that point in Phoenix Wright where like, okay, I've gone through all the profiles and it can't be any of these people, and this is the only person left on here that is not like crossed out.
But then like when that hits you, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, turning off the lights was great.
Peak.
I really like he has a line saying like,
I only see red.
I don't see red.
Or
there is no red in my world.
There is no red in my world. Yeah.
But it's the one where he's talking about like I looked at her and like I should like I was just blinded. There like I knew that wasn't that actual person. It was
the wrong thing to do.
Like, it was this person or it could have been this person, which would have been horrifying thinking about in retrospect.
Oh yeah.
If it was that second person.
Yeah.
And like but I did it because I was just blinded. And I just thought that was very, very good. It's like, okay, and that was the other thing. Like that character comes off very mild mannered compared to some other characters that take his place in the game in the series. So I was very kind of like disappointed in him up until that last case, and then reflecting upon a lot of his other actions previously.
One of the best characters in the series, in my opinion.
He's pretty up there. He's pretty good. But that's it. Like a weird kind of mode trying to end on, but like we've gone way longer than we thought we were going to go. But yeah, I really enjoyed
P Gaming. P Gaming.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I'll take a pretty good. Catch us next time when Joe finally. You should just replay through the whole Apollo trilogy at this point. But...
Just replay every game in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. You too, Bradley.
Joe never beat 6. Yeah, Bradley. Go play it with Emily. I know she likes those games. It's great.
She does. I remember trying the first couple cases of the first one, but
you were huffy about it not being very logically in line with real life law.
I think I think I wanted it to be more lawyer simulator than it was.
Yeah.
But now that I know that's not what it is, I'm gonna go in with fresh classes.
It's actually peak fiction simulator because like no other story. Just closing off on this sentiment, no other story creates a scenario where the villain can't escape no matter what. This isn't an action series where he can fight his way out. This isn't like he's put in the court trial, and one way or another you are going to confront them, and there is no other way out. And that actually makes so much tension and drama.
And I would say that's probably the rush is when like you finally have this dude dead to fucking rights, and it's like, yeah, what are you gonna say to that? Do you have any alibi for that? And they finally don't, and it's like
Phoenix Wright cases are boss fights, and there are some of the best bosses in gaming.
It's like it's just you sit down, and it's even better when like I know you did it, and I know what you. I just need to connect one more dot. I'm missing like one piece, and I know you're going to slip up and give it to me. And you're waiting to pounce, and it feels so good when you're able to connect the puzzle.
Very unique experience. If you ignore the fact that the law system in the world, it has its law system, is just fucking insane. And once you realize that, it's all gravy. All right, thank you for joining me, y'all. I will catch y'all next time. This was our probably a week earlier than expected podcast, and boy, am I glad we did it. So. Because this could have gone way worse if we had a week worth of content had on top of it. So, bye-bye.
Everybody buy Toriko.
Oh, my